Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about Shutterfly. If you're like us, you take a lot of pictures because you have a camera right in your hand all the time. How would you not take a lot of pictures? And we're taking all these pictures, more than we've ever taken in the history of the world.
What are you going to do with them all?
That's the thing. You used to get a solid picture, and then you'd look through them, and you could enjoy them. Now they're like back on your camera roll. You can't even find them. You don't want that. That's why the cool thing you need to do, and what I did, and I think it's pretty cool, is create a Shutterfly photo book.
Oh.
What I did, and you're going to enjoy this, Jimmy, because I haven't showed this to you yet, but took all of our pictures from being on tour this year.
Oh.
All live show pictures, us backstage, us on stage, doing all that stuff, and like some of the, just the venues and things, and made a little photo book out of that. Also, they have free 24-hour designer service as well. With their 24-hour designer service, a professional designer is going to lay out the book for you for free in just a day. Make something that means something with Shutterfly. Enjoy 40% off orders over $29 with promo code SMALLTOWN. See site for promotional details.
And now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to get you styled up with Stitch Fix. Shopping's hard. It's hard. With Stitch Fix, you get a stylist, though, who understands your style, your size, your budget, and they do all the shopping for you.
Wow.
This is excellent. Shopping, I'm telling you, shopping and figure out your style, it's overwhelming. Let somebody help you when it comes to getting dressed. We don't know what we're doing, so we let Stitch Fix help us out. A Stitch Fix stylist there. They know what works on us. We get the prices that make us look really good, and it feels good. You get some confidence boost walking around knowing that you're looking decent here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we just give the stylist our sizes, style, budget preferences. We order boxes when we want, how we want, no subscription or any of that required. And they send called Just For Me pieces as well. Like, maybe you'd like this, and it's awesome. Outfit recommendations, styling tips. You keep what you love, you send back the rest. It's super easy.
Yep.
You can do it, and we are doing it because it's excellent. Personal styling for everyone. Get started today at stitchfix.com/STM. That's stitchfix.com/STM.
Now back to the show.
Did you know that parents rank financial literacy as the #1 most difficult life skill to teach? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app for families. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on your kids' spending with real-time notifications. Kids learn to earn, save, and spend wisely. And parents can rest easy knowing their kids are learning about money with guardrails in place. Try Greenlight risk-free today at greenlight.com/Wondery.
This week, we return to Burlingame, California for part 2 of the horrible tale of Philip Carl Jablonski. Welcome to Small Town Murder. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Small Town Murder.
Yay! Closure.
Closure. Yay, indeed, Jimmy. Yay, indeed. The closure is here. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmie Whisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us back for the horrible part 2. If you're listening to this, I assume you listened to part 1. It's would be weird to listen to part 2 first, so I assume you know what we're talking about.
Don't go back.
Don't
That's
go back.
Weird.
It's crazy, but you might want to get details because it's also heavy on the details. A couple things right off the bat here. Live show. If you're listening to this the day it comes out, there's a live show tonight in Florida.
Yeah.
If you're listening to it later, it's already happened and you missed a really good show. Florida, West Palm Beach Improv, Thursday, February 21st. Yes, in West Palm Beach, Florida. Get your tickets now at shutupandgivememurder.com.
Right.
While you're there, you can do lots of fun things like buy merchandise and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. Go to shutupandgivememurder.com. Thank you, everybody, for your reviews this week. Also, iTunes reviews, Apple Podcasts, the purple icon, you know what we're talking about, or wherever you listen to podcasts. They really help drive us up the charts. They feed these funky chart algorithms of all the different...
It's very strange.
Very strange. All the different podcast network platforms and apps. So wherever you listen, please give us a review. 5 stars would be good. It's not for our ego.
Right.
Really isn't. So it doesn't matter what you say. Just tell us you're following instructions, following directions. You can't fix us with a review, but we appreciate your kind words anyway. You can do all of that. Like like we said, go get your merchandise and everything to wear to your live show at shutupandgivememurder.com. If you want to be a hero of ours, a true and amazing person who's a hero, one of our producers who we're going to talk about at the end of the show, that is also a distinct possibility. You can do that easily over at patreon.com/crimeinsports, or you can go over to PayPal and use our email address, which is crimeinsports@gmail.com, to make a one-time donation. And once again, every damn penny's appreciated. Thank you guys so much for everything you do for us. And
we're cheap fucks. We stretch it.
We do. We stretch it. We stretch it thin. So we have, this is just insanity. We should give the disclaimer just in case for some reason. I don't know if it's somebody's first episode. I don't know why you'd listen to a part 2. But disclaimer, this is a comedy podcast. This is despite the horrors that are going to go on within. And part 2 is just as brutal as part 1, maybe more so. Less kid stuff, so that's good. But otherwise, it's bad. But you know what? We're comedians. We're going to make jokes. Well, we make jokes at the expense of the small towns. We make jokes at the expense of murderers, because what the hell else are we supposed to do about it as comedians sitting in a basement in Phoenix? It's very difficult to do anything other than make jokes. But what we do try to do to avoid being dicks is we try not to make fun of the victims or the victims' families, because we're assholes, but we're not scumbags.
There, now you've had it.
That's how it works. That's how this works. If that sounds good to you, we're going to have a great time. You're going to hear horrible things that we're going to try to make a little easier to digest. And because, I mean, if you don't think comedy and true crime and comedy go together at all, that's understandable. It's fine. There's plenty of very serious podcasts out there where they'll talk about, and he cut her head off. That's fine. If you want to hear that, great.
He severed the penis. There's no joke there, really?
It's hard not to. So what we're saying is that's out there for you. But if you think that true crime and comedy might be fun, then you're our kind of people, damn it. And we're going to have a good time.
Certainly.
And I think it's time for you to shout.
Yes.
From, I don't care where you are, the rooftops, your car in traffic.
Muffling into a pillow. I don't care.
If you're in a conservative office, go into the bathroom. Say it into your armpit there, very quietly.
Ball of toilet paper.
That's all. Say, shut up.
And give me murder.
That's right, baby. Let's do this.
Yes.
Let's go on a trip.
Yeah.
On a trip?
We don't really have to go
We're on a trip
anywhere.
already. We're still here. We just we're camping out in a hotel for the last
damn week here.
We're hunkered down in a shitty motel.
I'm not leaving.
Outside of Burlingame,
I don't have any closure. I think he's still on the loose.
Well, he is still on the loose. He's still in the mix.
Yeah.
So where we left off here, we left off with, I'll give you kind of the last 2 minutes of the last show to get you up to speed. It's Philip Carl Jablonski. We followed his whole life, his absolutely contested childhood, a bad childhood either way.
Monstrous.
Contested as to the degree of the childhood.
That's a good point.
That's the way we could put it. He went to Vietnam, came back a different person, according to his wife at the time. He changed, Philip, what's with all this gun, man? Abused his wife horribly, is a bit of a sexual sadist, likes to inflict pain and fear upon people, women only, really, because he only attacks women.
She likes it, whatever, but she doesn't like it.
She doesn't like it. No one's asking for any kind of foul play here. Second, he ends up killing a wife, obviously going on to a spree of rapes and prison, and through pen pal relationships met another wife who he then obviously ended up killing, of course, later on. The whole thing is crazy. He killed everybody he came in contact with.
It's crazy. He's in and out of prison like that.
Yeah, and he's on a bit of he just got out of prison, and he's mad that he can't go to Burlingame to live with his the wife that he met through the pen pal program in prison. So he's upset about that.
And her mother Ava.
He's upset about that. He has to stay in Indio, and he's kind of going back and forth, and he's enrolled in the community college taking an automotive class, seething.
And back and forth to not Burlingame, but to Sacramento
to visit his friend to get a driver's license and a 65 Ford Fairlane, like a cool guy. So where we left off with was around the April 18th. He had bought a gun from a classmate.
What year?
April 18th, 1991.
Got it.
He bought a gun from a classmate. Lawrence is his last name. It's a RG-14 revolver, and he bought bullets from him. Obviously, he's a convicted felon a couple times over and cannot have guns of any kind.
And that's a 22 long rifle.
Is that what it is? Okay, 22 long rifle. So that makes a lot of sense because that was his. That's his
fucking.
That's his
that's
jam.
His game, babe.
That's his jam, as we know from the El Paso case. He takes quote, target practice on women with this gun.
That's his Jordan fadeaway.
Yeah, that's him right there. That's definitely, it's a Jordan hand out to the right to left hand around.
Under the basket.
Yeah, it's the Olajuwon baseline fadeaway, I believe is what we're going for there. So, not good. So, apparently on April 22nd, he told his instructor that he wouldn't be in class the next day because he had a doctor's appointment, but he would be there the day after that. But they saw, and then the instructor saw him with another student later on that evening, in April 22nd. I guess he was giving her a ride home. Fatima Van, who goes by Fanny Hansen,
right,
who's a recently widowed mother of 2, taking an automotive class to, I guess, learn how to do automotive things.
Whatever. She's gonna work at Grease Monkey.
She's going to do something. So he returned for the evening class again on April 23rd, even though he said he wasn't going to be there.
Right.
But I'm sorry, he did not return for that class.
That's right.
He did not return, and neither did Fanny Hansen.
Right.
So we were looking for Fanny Hansen. So she was obviously there at the College of the Desert taking the automotive class.
Yeah.
Taking an automotive class at the College of the Desert sounds depressing as fuck.
Yeah, it does.
That does not sound like an academic stronghold.
Sounds sweaty.
Yeah, it sounds sweaty and dirty and all in trailers.
Yeah.
There's no buildings. No, there's not a foundation around this whole campus.
What do they call that in school? The modulars. That's what
modulars?
Yeah.
I don't know. I went to school in New York, and it was, we don't have trailers.
Really?
No, they have buildings. They were built, the schools were there for 70 years.
But I mean, when the school was like being added onto during the summer or whatever, they'd set up modulars out there.
Out here, I know they have separate.
There's some of them just have like a couple of classes out there, or detention. I had in-school suspension, and it was in one of those.
That makes sense.
That is fucking depressing.
That's like one of those heat tents, I guess. So you torment a kid and put him in there.
Like a sweat lodge.
Yeah, sweat lodge. That's what I was thinking. Yeah,
it feels shitty.
Yeah, like,
you feel like a real piece of shit.
Treat you like a businessman who needs motivation.
When you're already in trouble and you know it, and you have to sit there on like time that is supposed to be yours, and you're staring at nothing, and the teacher's just like making whatever teacher's there. I feel like that's their punishment too. Like they fucked up somewhere, and they're like, you're going to sit in the in-school suspension thing.
Either that, or that's the most sadistic teacher, and they know it. They're like, no, give it to her. She likes it.
She'll enjoy the shit out of this.
She digs it. Trust me.
She likes to sweat.
She'll stay after the kids leave to like relish their spirits left behind in the chairs.
It hurts. It steals a little piece of you.
It steals. It does.
I fought the mayor's son and got stuck in that shit, and we had to. It was just the two of us sitting in this sweaty ass sweat lodge, and it really makes you feel like a piece of shit. Especially when this kid's family's successful. I'm white trash. I'm meant to be.
You should have felt. I was gonna say you should have felt right at home. Felt like, how's it feel, asshole? You like this?
How you like it now?
This is what my house feels like.
You glad you made me take a swing at you?
That's
right.
No shit. So Philip Carl, he goes by here. Jablonski gave her a ride home from class on the 22nd. That's not disputed. Everyone knows that. Now, so she's missing. Finally, the next night, they actually find Fanny Hansen. Unfortunately, they find her body off the road in the desert outside of Indio, which is bleak country. We've discussed Indio and how terrible it is on the way from Phoenix to L.A. Yeah. It's an awful, awful place.
You've already driven so far.
And
when you get to Indio,
enough.
You go, is this the outskirts?
Nope.
Oh, shit. Does that say Indio?
This is the desert, man. Yeah. This is bleak, and outside of Indio is not a place where you want to be your final resting ground. So that's bad.
That's where one of the crime and sports guys rolled his truck.
No, that was up by Coachella.
Oh, it was
a different place.
God damn it.
Different place. Steve Howe. Steve Howe. The truck landed on him. Listen to Crime and Sports, you bastards, by the way.
It's a great story.
What the hell is wrong with you? Yeah, Crime and Sports the stories are just as crazy as anything we cover here.
It's unbelievable.
So check that out. But the cause of death here turns out that it was a gunshot wound, but that's not the extent of it. Obviously, that's not the whole pie here.
Where's her nipple?
Her body is mutilated. Yeah. Stab wounds perforate her neck, abdomen, vagina, and rectal area.
Oh no!
He stabbed her all over the place. Her ears and nipples were amputated. Yeah. And there were wounds to her eyes. He went after her, He went after her eyes with a knife. In addition to,
it's so foreign to me.
This whole, I can't imagine what the motivation for that is. There's definitely something wrong there. Obviously, I mean, we know the motivation psychologically and everything.
Obviously,
but just on a personal level to be,
Obviously, it's humiliation and degrading the person.
But it's a sexual thing. But like if you talk to a person and just be like, like anybody does, like, so why'd you do that?
Right.
Let's say somebody switched jobs, you'd be like, what made you want to do that instead of that? Like, what made you want to? Why the ear?
The nipple, though? Like
the nipple's his thing. That's always what he. But the ear now?
Yeah.
What's his thing? And obviously
gouging out eyes.
Yeah. The stab wounds to the private areas.
That's bananas.
Those are. Yeah, but that's like kind of standard behavior in a lot of these cases. Is it's a power thing.
Actual genitals of somebody is crazy, though.
You think he likes women, or
no,
that's what
really
I mean. He's got problems here.
Yeah.
Well, it's not over, by the way. There's more wounds to her eyes. Also, they found carved into her back.
Yeah.
They found the words "I love Jesus," but with the word "love" replaced with a heart shape.
I heart Jesus.
I heart Jesus.
He
on her back.
stickered her back.
On her back, he carved "I heart Jesus" after he they assume sexually assaulted her, but her body is kind of messed up to tell. They have to do testing at first. After sexual assault and mutilation and a gunshot wound to end it all, he then decides that that's something he needs to do as well.
That is so much time with somebody.
That's what I mean. He's spending time and he's enjoying this.
Yeah.
This is he thinks about this. This is his fantasy. Who knows? Who knows how long he had her in his sights from class, where he said that's the one. He picks people out. It's what these people do.
Yeah.
And this guy is especially horrific, as we found out. Now, April 24th, 1991. Let's go jump ahead a couple days here. A Robert Galindo is a friend of Carol Spadani and Eva Peterson. If you don't remember, Carol Spadani is Philip Jablonski's wife, who he met in prison through the Pen Pal program, and Eva Peterson is her mother,
who he promised
to sodomize someday.
He did.
Which, your future mother-in-law, just a tip for you courting young gentlemen out there. Let's say you're out wooing a young lady. Don't threaten to sodomize her mom.
No.
That's a bad move.
It's not romantic.
You know what you do? Do offer to help with the dishes. Do that. Offer to do things, help out,
Anything
be nice.
Broken around the house?
Be polite. Yeah, do that sort of thing. Make yourself helpful.
Right.
Don't offer to sodomize.
Never.
That's not an offer that's likely to be accepted, number one, and will probably cause some strife, I would assume, in the family.
No matter how many pornos you've seen, they never accept
They never
it.
actually want to do that. No. Wait for her to come over and initiate that, I would say. If that's what you want.
Make her beg for that.
Yeah, really have her be like, yeah.
Even the first time she brings it up, be like...
aggressive like a... If she's not as aggressive as a porno, assume it's not going to happen and leave her alone. So, this guy, Robert Galindo, he met Carol and Eva for coffee and donuts 3 times a week at a coffee shop, which seems like an excessive amount of meeting anybody.
I don't know. Robert seems to like one of these two.
Well, okay, that's true, but like, we're really good friends, and and we only meet twice a week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they meet 3 times.
We don't even have
that's
donuts.
A lot. I don't see my kids 3 times a week. No. I get my kids 2 days a week.
Yeah,
like
I'm
they
the same. Sometimes one.
This is a very tight relationship. And how many donuts are these people eating too?
Yeah,
but then again, Philip called Carol, quote, anorexic. So maybe she's trying to put on a few pounds. I'm not sure. That is not a joke toward anorexics. No. That's, I'm not sure what that is.
Maybe she's rebounding.
Yeah. So anyway, they meet every 3 times a week. On April 24th, 1991, he hadn't heard from them for a few days, which was odd for them. So he called and nobody answered. So he was like, who knows? People go away he's not their overseer. They could have gone out of town for 2 days. Who knows?
Not his ward.
That's what I mean. So he's like, I don't know. They're not answering me. Or maybe they just don't feel like hanging out with him. That's the other thing. Maybe they're ignoring him on purpose. I would think.
Maybe he farted the last time they had donuts. And they're like, let's not hang out with that guy anymore.
And any guy who hangs out with women kind of knows when they're being blown off too. 2 days later, though, on April 26th, he drove to their house. Their house is on Sanchez Street in Burlingame.
The dirty kind.
Exactly. It's a very dirty street. So he notices here that there are 3 or 4 days worth of newspapers in the yard, which is not normal for them, and a couple of packages on the hood of one of the 2 cars parked in the driveway. Now, number 1, not normal. Number 2, what kind of shitty UPS guy leaves packages on the fucking hood of a car in the driveway? Find a bush or something to put them behind. You put them on the hood of the car? Why don't you just put a sign that says free shit?
Right. Don't know what's inside.
Take
you
it, will.
It.
Yeah.
Right.
Some stuff from Amazon. Enjoy.
May as well write free on the box.
Put a sign that says free shit, like people do if they put their crappy couch out by the curb. Free. Really? Gee, thanks.
Is it?
Is it free?
My favorite's the one they put it out there and then they put a price tag on it. Go fuck yourself.
It's on the curb.
It means so little to you that you have put it on the street.
Well, it's one of those things. Where do you put your garbage every week? Right next to that garbage. So that's what you're calling it garbage.
I'm not paying you for your garbage. Therefore, I'm not paying for your goddamn couch.
No, so people just take that shit anyway.
And also, you've slept on this. Your sweat's on it. You've done horrible things in the middle of the night on this thing.
Yeah.
How many farts? Charge me for this?
How much fart is trapped in there? How much?
Ass juice.
How many times do I have to jump up and down on it before I accordion all the farts out?
I have to beat this with a tennis racket.
I gotta hang it
to get rid of your family
out a window and beat it with a stick like in the old days. Some shit. It's fucking ridiculous, though. I don't understand it.
I'd rather see it free than fucking a price tag.
I like when
I
like when there's broken shit that's free. That's my favorite. It's all like a shelf and it's all broken, and you're like, really free? What, firewood? It's fucking broken.
A TV with no screen. Like
I love that. Yeah,
out.
Like the back is all gone. You're like, free. Thanks.
Really?
How about just say garbage? Just say, got garbage here that I can't fit in my can. So hopefully someone will take it so I don't have to figure out what the fuck to do with it. That's all it is. So anyway, there's this shitty UPS man has left packages on the cars. So this Robert goes around back and he sees a cage containing cats, like their house cats there. The cats have no food or water and don't look well. They look like they could use food and water.
They've been caged a minute.
They've been caged and they haven't been drinking and eating, and they look kind of raggedy. So that's a weird thing there. They take care of their animals. That's a strange deal. So he thought something was wrong based on that. The papers, the deal. They wouldn't leave and just leave their cats there with nobody watching them. They would have asked him, can you give the cats water? So he decides at that point he's going to call the police.
Okay.
So that's probably a good move. He calls the police. Burlingame police officers arrive. Officer Frank Pickens arrives at the house at 7:20 a.m., notes the newspapers and packages, and he hears dogs barking inside. So all of these things are, adding up to no one's home probably. He knocks on the door at first because who knows? Maybe they've decided to go feral for a minute in the house and go all hoarders.
TV up loud.
Nothing like that. So he knocks the door, no answer. So he searches around the house for signs of forced entry. Looks for broken windows and doors jimmied and shit like that, which is smart. Finds nothing. He later does discover that a side door to the garage was unlocked. He finds that later on, though. He ends up, that's like the last place he checks. He enters the garage and saw that the door from the garage into the kitchen is open. It's one of those attached garages where you enter the house right from the garage.
And so the door is open or it's unlocked?
It's open. It's wide open between the garage and the kitchen. Which is in most houses.
That's bizarre.
Most houses, you leave the smell of the garage and the exhaust and the tires out in the garage.
A lot of times that door shuts on its own too.
I've never seen a house that doesn't have a self-closing door.
That's very weird.
And it's always like a heavy door that goes
bang,
like it's got good seal to it too. Usually,
well,
that's where you put your weather stripping. You're really concentrated on that one.
A new house has a fire code that door has to be
an outer
fireproof.
Door. Like an outer door.
Right, it has to be an outside door. But this could have had like an added-on garage. And oftentimes those don't have a good door.
That's a fact. That's a good point. Also, he enters the garage and sees this, and he's entering with caution, obviously. He finds at the back of on the garage basically in the doorway. He finds the reason why the door is open. It's because the body of an elderly woman is lying there. It's Eva Peterson, lying on her back on the floor with her feet facing toward the kitchen. There is a gag in her mouth, and we'll find out more about that, with what appeared to be a gunshot through the gag in her mouth.
No.
Yeah, we'll find out. This did not go slow or easy. It didn't go easy or quick for Eva, or for either of these women, as we'll talk about here. Now, another officer enters the house, and they find the body of a second woman, who is Carol, and she's been gagged there. Now, the Eva Peterson, it was a towel that had been folded over and pushed into her mouth, like not a gag across your mouth, a gag in your mouth.
Ouch.
So he folded up a towel, put it in there, and there was a bullet hole, like we said, through the towel, like through her mouth. She was naked from the waist down. Her sweatshirt and bra had been pulled up above, for obvious access to her breasts. There was another bullet hole above her right breast and a stab wound in her neck. That's not all. There's also cuts around one of her nipples and around her right eye. And the cut, they said the cut to her nipple and her eye were both made by a knife. Blood smears all over the kitchen floor show that she had been dragged there.
Wow.
She was killed somewhere else and dragged there.
And left the door open for ventilation or some shit?
I'm not sure. Ventilation, or maybe so he could get back in and out. I'm not sure exactly what it was. Or he
used her like a doorstop?
Like just left her there, which is very odd, but dragged her across the kitchen to leave her there. I don't know if it was like, I'll leave her here. That way I can come in and out quick, and then, I'll pull her inside when I'm done. It's a very strange... We're going to really try to make sense of this guy, but drug her across the kitchen. The stab wound to her throat was said to be made while she was still alive. So that was a bloody one. The cause of death, though, was gunshot wounds to her head and chest, which was above her right.
So stabbed and then shot.
Stabbed in the throat, and also mutilated a lot, and then shot in the mouth and in the in the right breast. Yeah. So brutal stuff here. Now, the second woman here is Carol Spadani. Her body is found in the living room. She's dressed in a nightgown. Her nose and mouth are covered with duct tape, wrapped so tightly that it would have cut off her breathing. Only thing is, she could breathe, they found out when they figured out what happened. They could breathe because she was stabbed in the throat, which actually created a functional tracheotomy.
Wow.
That actually was a tracheotomy, basically. So she was breathing through a hole in her throat.
Did he do that on purpose, you think?
Who knows?
Wow.
This sick fuck...
I could see him doing that.
Think about this. He's been writing her for over 10 years. He's known her. Think about how long he's been crafting this in his head, and now she rejected him also. Oh my God. I mean, it's insane how much he must have crafted this in his head. So it's possible. This is
I could see him screaming like, "You can't breathe."
Yeah, here
with some horrible word.
Yeah.
I can't even say it.
No, not in this context. No.
Oh, that feels horrible.
It's fucking disgusting. That's what I mean. This whole thing is disgusting
and
here.
It just like popped a hole, breathe through that. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, now you can breathe, right? You can see that happening. You could see her doing that. Or it was just he did that and then he was stabbing her like he stabbed his mother, like he stabbed the mother too. Also, she had a bullet wound behind her right ear and mafia style execution, and 3 stab wounds in her abdomen. Additionally, there's more. There's a lot more. This is brutal stuff, everybody. I didn't think I'd need to give the warning because we warned on the first episode, and I figured you'd think it would carry over. But
this one's graphic as shit.
In case you haven't figured it out, this one's very, very graphic. I'm not sure if you maybe knew that from the rectal stab wounds from the last victim, but it's pretty brutal shit. Yeah. So hang in there. It's almost done here with this part. So there's also half of her right breast was sliced off, like cut it in half. Exposing a silicone implant there. But he left that there.
Okay.
Didn't want to take that with him for some reason. I don't know.
He got it down to the implant though.
Yeah, he cut it off, like half off, like just sliced it in half like a fucking cantaloupe.
Unbelievable.
It's just horrible. There's also stab wounds to her vagina as well. Also, basically, he stabbed her anus so badly that her intestines were coming out.
No way.
Yes, from that. So this was an absolutely forceful, brutal attack.
Yeah.
Very, very concentrated.
My word.
Yeah. The cause of her death was a gunshot wound, but the stab wounds and duct tape suffocation, they put as contributing factors to her death. Now, they've been in there for days, so decomposition had begun to set in.
Yeah.
So they examined the bodies, and they had to examine them further to figure out if sexual assault had occurred.
Okay, so they right away threw out suicide pact.
They threw out murder-suicide, yeah, right away. It was very unlikely.
Thank God.
Said. Very, very unlikely. Robbery, probably not a motive. Probably not any sort of religious cult thing. No. They weren't waiting for a comet. This is definitely an intentional murder, I would say. So they found a journal on the kitchen table, showed a final entry date of April 23rd, 1991. This is April 26th where they're talking, where they're looking through it. Envelopes addressed to the victims here were from Philip Carl Jablonski on the table. They were addressed to, quote, Mrs. Carol Jablonski, which she's not going by that at this point. There was a letter there found in the bedroom also. Now, a computer check revealed that Philip Carl Jablonski received a traffic citation where? In Burlingame.
Oh, this idiot's driving like an asshole.
On the afternoon of April 23rd for failing to yield right of way.
Wow.
Now, if you're somewhere you're not supposed to be, you're going to kill people, which is a very clandestine thing. Yeah. You're on parole.
Right.
You've specifically asked to go there and been told specifically you can go anywhere but there, as a matter of fact.
Anywhere in California, not there.
Put 50 miles around there, stay the fuck away. And you are driving like a fucking asshole? Are you kidding me?
That's brave.
That's brave. Well, it's the same son of Sam.
Yeah.
How about park better, stupid? And they would have never caught you.
Brazen.
That's the point.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of... I
get away with it for so long.
It's the Ted Bundy thing with the tire iron that they talk about, where he's like, eventually you just fucking forget stuff.
You get a bit lazy.
You just get lazy. Everything becomes routine.
Right.
And I think, I don't know what it is, but I think he's just a shitty driver.
Yeah.
He was in prison for 10 years.
Right.
That probably helps.
Probably forgot some things.
Who knows? He's driving a fucking 65 Ford Fairlane.
They implemented the green left-hand turn light now.
Yeah.
So he's probably like, what the fuck is that arrow about?
He's surprised people are turning right on red. What is everybody doing? So he's an idiot. So, he's there. Computer check reveals that. So that's places him in Burlingame on the day that they assume this happened. So that's a bad sign for him right there. Now, the officer who initiated the stop observed no signs of intoxication or nervousness or anything suspicious. Just a regular guy got pulled over for failing to yield light right away. Happens.
Probably before.
Happens all the time. We don't know. They obtained a search warrant also for Eva Peterson's bank account and discovered a check for $200 written to Jablonski, signed by Peterson. Okay, they find this. The signature on the check does not match Peterson's signature on her signature card at the bank, obviously. And a teller at the bank in Millbrae, where the check was cashed, later identified Jablonski as the person who cashed the check on the afternoon of the 23rd. Okay. So that's the other thing, too. He's got, like, stolen checks and shit like that. That just brazen, doesn't care.
Dumb.
In addition to cashing the check, he also withdrew $500 from his own savings account, which is a really weird move. I'm going to rob him. I'm going to rob her. And then, by the way, I'm going to take some legitimate cash out of my own thing. I've been saving for a rainy day.
Oh, it's pouring.
And it's fucking cloudy out. Let me tell you something.
Did you hear lightning? I think
I heard some thunder.
I definitely did not hear lightning.
At least. I heard the lightning. I heard my ears are good. Yeah. I can hear it. Just wisping through the air. The electricity crackling. So, April 25th, 1991, he's on the run. This is he's on the run from Fanny Hansen murder and from Peterson and Spadani.
Right.
So he takes off. He ends up in Wyoming, and he stops at a rest stop and brandishes a gun at a woman named Yvette Shelby. Yeah. Now, she had pulled into the rest stop to do some paperwork for her job or whatever and let her dog out. Yeah. She stopped there. She was able to escape, though. I guess he lost his grip on the gun and dropped it somehow. So she drove to the next truck stop quickly, where she called the police about this whole thing, which is good. So you figure They called the police. He's going to be caught now.
Got him in a small town somewhere.
Got him in Wyoming somewhere. He's going to be suspicious. What are you doing out here? They'll look into it. Boom.
Some dust stirs and you're caught.
There you go. Hey, you're on parole in California. Look at you. You're not allowed to be in Wyoming. Look at that. That's right away. Parole violation right now. Police questioned him about the incident.
They caught up with him.
But he claimed the gun, which he carried for protection. And in Wyoming, I mean, you never know when a bison's going to wander by and attack you. So you probably should have something.
Sir, you need this gun back.
Sir, why don't you take this? Oh, Jesus, so you need to keep a better grip on this. That's what I mean. Now, what would you do if a bison came a charging? You going to just drop it on the ground? You're going to be crushed and stampeded, boy.
We got a class here tomorrow at noon. They'll teach you all about the grips and proper trigger etiquette.
Proper trigger etiquette. The proper trigger etiquette is pull it repeatedly until it clicks.
Until it stops moving or click.
So, he claims that he carried the gun for protection and it fell out of his car when he got out. He said, I just had it and it was on the floor and I kicked it with my foot and it fell out. He said, I picked it up and she must have thought I was pointing it at her or something, but I was just picking it up because it fell on the ground. That's all it was. Innocent thing. I don't know maybe she's paranoid. Shrug of the shoulders and the cop goes, all right. Shrug shoulders. All right. Go on your merry way, sir.
Unfucking real. Not even check his ID?
Have a good one. You probably gave him the old captain salute and everything.
Off the long brim.
Happy sailing, sir. You just let him go. His highway patrol hat.
The wide brim. The one that goes all the way the fuck around. The weird one. The Sergeant
with
Slaughter
the braiding
hat.
In the front. Yeah, that's it right there. Just gave him a little salute and you be on your way, son. Godspeed.
Wow.
Lets him go. So lets him go, unfortunately, because unfortunately for a woman named Margie Rogers.
No way.
This cop let him go. He ends up, it's a woman who works at a truck stop named Margie Rogers. She's an older lady. She's in her 60s.
Oh, God.
He later on, we found out, basically he shot her, then opened up her blouse and pulled off her bra to fondle her. That was his motivation.
That's all it was?
He just wanted to fondle her. Her body was found on April 27th at the gas station where she worked in Grand County, Utah. So he's moving states here. Her shirt had been open, her bra was lifted over there, and she'd been shot twice in the head. Now, this is the Grand County Police said that that her assailant appeared to be about to desecrate her body when he was interrupted. That's what they said. They said this looks like a case of somebody came.
Right.
It's a truck stop, so people are coming in and out. So somebody, desolate or not, somebody came by and he had to abandon ship here and didn't get to finish what he was doing.
That is
because
horrible.
It sounds like it from his pattern too. This is halfway done.
Right.
Now he's going to start carving and cutting pieces off and doing whatever the fuck he does. So,
hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about the safest sponsor ever, Simply Safe. Absolutely, these people will keep you safe. It's amazing. You know that every 26 seconds a burglary takes place in the United States, according to the FBI. That means that by the time this podcast is over, dozens and dozens of homes will have been targeted, ransacked, God knows what happens here. So protect your home before it's too late with Simply Safe proactive security system. Simply Safe helps stop threats before they even have a chance to break in. Named Best Home Security System by U.S. News and World Report 5 years in a row. And by us for about the last 8 years as well. If you trust us, believe me, you want Simply Safe. So visit simplysafe.com/small to claim 50% off a new system with professional monitoring plan and your first month free. That's simplysafe.com/small. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Now back to the show.
This show, Small Town Murder, is brought to you by BetterHelp. Get yourself some therapy, everybody. Honestly, here. We often hear about, red flags that you should avoid. Hey, that's a lot of a thing. It's become a real phrase now, real cliche. Yeah. But why don't you focus also, you look at like green flags in friends and partners. Look for good things as well. Right. And maybe you're not sure what that looks like, though. Therapy can help you figure that out. What are positive things? What are the green flags? And then you can practice them in your relationship. It's absolutely a fact. And so, honestly, we absolutely are huge advocates for this. It really, really helps. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy affordable. It's convenient. They serve over 5 million people worldwide. You can access a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists, wide ranges of specialties there. Here's the coolest part. You're not getting along with your therapist, you're just not feeling it, you can switch at any time, no extra charge.
Wow.
The thing is, they want you to get help. That's it. And you can do it with BetterHelp. Discover your relationship green flags with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/smalltownmurder today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you about Noom. Has Noom helped you? I believe it has.
Oh, it's got an app. You can do tracking. It's terrific.
It does. Noom builds personal plans that can meet individual needs. That's the thing. Takes into account any dietary restrictions, medical issues, other personal needs. That helps build a plan that works for you. And yes, so I know that you've had your own personalized program here that you've been working on. And
it's weight loss This is weight loss results that last. They stick around because you get yourself into a lifestyle change. That's what matters.
That's mainly it. You can't just say, I'm going to cut that out for a month and then go back to it. That's not what it is. So I'm glad it's helping you. That's great. And it really does. I like the psychology and biology-based approach here. Yeah. Noom Weight uses psychology. That's why they say losing weight starts with your brain, but it also takes into account your unique biological factors, Jimmy. All of your multitude flora and fauna that goes on inside of you there. Sure, yeah. Stay focused on what's important to you with Noom's psychology and biology-based approach. Sign up for your trial today at Noom.com, Noom.com here. Based on 3.5-year study of actively engaged Noom users with minimum starting BMI of 25. Individual results may vary. Visit our website for more information.
They said, the law officer said, quote, I'd prefer not to give any detail, but it was nothing on the same scale as to what happened in California, because they're already connecting these now that they find the body. But they said he was interrupted probably. Now, April 28th, 1991, he is stopped by a traffic officer in Kansas and finally fucking arrested.
Boy, does he drive like a dick.
He drives like a dick. He stopped for a traffic violation, to which they end up finding out who he is, and he is jailed on a parole violation for being in Kansas.
Do we have any idea where the fuck he's going? Or
no.
Did he have any plan?
No clue.
He just who heads east?
Okay, I assume, I'm just going to say, it's probably Florida.
Oh, okay.
He's going to Florida. That's where Ted Bundy was going on that same route. He's going to Florida. You know it. You can blend in Florida. It's a new life. Everybody down there is a transplant. It's not... That's where he's going, in my opinion, probably Florida, or maybe he was going to take because why would he do that? I was going to say, he's not going to Mexico.
Right.
I think he's going to Florida.
Only person I've ever heard of that headed east.
Yeah, everybody if you start in the west, you have nowhere else to go.
South, north.
Well, south, but if he's in California, they know of him. Back then, without the computer checks from state to state, I think he's thinking, get out of the state, and I got a better chance of not being checked on and shit like that. But he's just trying to get as far away from the shit as he can.
It is crazy that this shit could happen.
It did happen. Yeah,
I know.
What's crazy is nobody knows who this guy is.
That's weird. Why?
Isn't it fucking? He's
so much more vicious.
It's my theory on him, and he's vicious, more vicious than a lot of serial killers we've talked about by far. I think. Richard Speck is extremely famous. And what he did was horrible and brutal. But I think this is way worse. This is way worse. Like, if this guy had a room full of, imagine what he would have done.
Speck killed a lot of people, but he didn't do that on purpose. He was a dope that stumbled into a room with a bunch of people.
That's what I mean.
And he just had to kill them all to get rid of it all.
Imagine if Jablonski had a bunch of college girls in a room.
Jesus.
He would have there would have been nipples everywhere. It would have been hanging from the ceiling.
It would have been bananas.
It would have been crazy. Yeah. So that's what I mean. Like, this guy is a different kind of case. And I think the reason why this isn't as big is because he kills mainly people he knows.
Okay.
Now, he kills his wives, which makes him a different thing that people they don't fear that.
Right, that's not fascinating.
They don't fear that. They're like, well, you should know that your husband's going to kill you. I think that's what people think in their mind. Well, obviously, if your husband's going to kill you, you should know that.
That many, then no.
No, but I mean, it's
the answer's no.
No, I think that's what it is. Whereas the Ted Bundy, the random. You could be at the store and you never know, and it could that's what fascinates people, because it's the monster in the closet. It's a different thing.
But the Bundy thing's just sexy because it's so
well, I mean, anybody like
but
that.
But this is just as sexy because this, and
or
way
BTK
worse than
is interesting because there's no connection. He just finds people at random. That's what scares people. I think
this isn't mainstream and popular because it's so far.
But what about Dahmer? Dahmer's the most popular thing in the world.
Ate him. You know what I mean?
That's worse. He kept him in his fridge. He made dick shrines. I mean, that guy.
That's just so personal.
They were talking about that shit on the news. But the thing about Dahmer that made it interesting, that everyone, because it was gay.
Yeah.
Oh my God! It made it this. Then it was isn't this crazy? And people got to look in on this. This gay lifestyle.
The other part that's fascinating
ridiculous
is that we're shocked by what Dahmer did, but he's just as fucking shocked as we are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This guy's not shocking.
This guy is. We'll find out.
Himself.
He's so matter of fact about it. He's so okay with who he is.
Yeah.
Like, I hate who I am, and I'm a decent person. I don't do anything to anybody. I try my best to,
never cut a nipple off.
Never cut a nipple off. I try my best to be a decent person, and I despise myself. I can't imagine feeling this fine with myself.
Loving himself
to
the point of destroying any other being that doesn't approve of you. How dare you not approve?
Wait
of
till
me?
you hear how he writes about it too.
Boy.
It's just, he's thrilled with it.
I think that's what it is. I think that's why it's not famous, because that's terrifying to a normal person.
Yeah.
It's terrifying to love yourself so much that you'll destroy everything and do it in such a matter-of-fact way that it doesn't even, it's so cold. It doesn't matter to you.
No, he doesn't matter. He talks about it like he is, like you'll hear, like if you listen to read Freeway Rick Ross's book, he's the drug dealer and he's just talking very matter-of-factly about, then it was this many kilos and we upped it to this, because he's not remorseful about that. He was just selling drugs to make money. This guy talks about it the same exact way. It's the best way to put it. The way like a normal person would talk about like that sort of crime or something. Like a gangster would talk about, then we heisted this one place and it was funny. Like he talks about it like that. Like it's just
He's
like,
not
hey,
doing it.
Isn't this silly?
It's not personal to him except for exacting rage on somebody that's close to him. Whereas the other people like BTK and all the famous ones, those ones are doing it. It's personal to them in sexual gratification.
They're putting
they
things,
can't come unless somebody's dying.
No, absolutely.
This guy can come some other way.
Oh yeah.
Those guys can't.
But no, he likes the violence during sex and shit like that. But it's not the same as Ted Bundy. This guy's got a totally different thing, and a lot of it too later on is he decides to embrace the fact of who he is, of what everyone's calling him, and try to make that his thing, try to make that his brand. And when he writes letters to people, he purposely, as we'll find out when we read a couple, purposely tries to freak them out. You can tell he's trying to scare them. He gets off on that. Not only does he get to relay what he did and relive it, but then he gets to get off on the fact that it's freaking out others.
Whoever's reading this is losing their shit.
He's jerking off everywhere on this shit. The walls are covered in jizz in this guy's cell.
Unbelievable.
So when he's arrested in Kansas, in his wallet, police find $710, which makes sense. He took out $500 and cashed a check, and he might have had some cash otherwise, and a $90 check drawn from Eva Peterson's bank accounts. Oh, and all of her credit cards in her name in his wallet.
And that's his dismount.
That's his dismount. And he's on the run from that. He probably thought that wouldn't raise red flags with the banks, though, if he took small amounts.
It's a little bit.
It's a little bit, which makes sense. If you try to take out $5,000, they might look into that a little bit harder than if you grab $200.
And back then too, you weren't like swiping a card; they were like running it through that click clack machine, making a carbon copy.
Credit cards, anybody could have run anything.
It'll take weeks for them to find me.
They'll never know it. Absolutely. If you're on the run, perfect. Go.
It.
That was the preferred method, was to use credit cards at that point, because it won't tie you to shit. Also, they find a small address book in his wallet. It contains the names, addresses, and dates of birth of both Eva Peterson and Carol Spadani. Beneath each name were the words, quote, death, April 23rd, 1991. By the way, the dates of the deaths of the murders hadn't been made public yet. So no one knows that shit but the police and apparently him running through states. Right. You think that's pretty incriminating, right?
It's definitely damning.
It's pretty damning. That is nothing. Let's get into as brazen as his crimes were, the evidence that he stores and against him is even more brazen.
What has he got?
He has it's fucking crazy. Let's get into it here. They search his car. They find a loaded .22 caliber revolver under his driver's seat, a box of .22 caliber cartridges in the ashtray.
Okay, so he's got some more.
The bullets removed from Eva Peterson matched the bullets in the revolver.
Not good.
Not smart there. The bullet recovered from Carol Spadani's brain matched the rifling characteristics of the revolver, but that bullet was too damaged because .22s will bounce around. It bounced around her head and was too damaged for a conclusive finding. But I'm going to go out on a limb here. I think it probably fucking matches. Just going to say
it's pretty close.
I think I can say with all moral and legal certainties
good enough.
It's good enough. I'm pretty sure it's close. Also, duct tape found in the vehicle was consistent with the duct tape used on Carol Spadani. I think that's a lot. That's a lot so far.
Kind of a mountain.
I mean, it's ballistics. It's getting pretty big. Let's get more.
Okay.
Let's get more. This is like ridiculous amount of evidence. Like it's like an SNL sketch.
Oh boy.
Where you'd be like, well, there's a little bit of, look at this. He's got, remember the Dave Chappelle sketch where people didn't think R. Kelly was guilty? Right. I don't care if it was I need a tape with her saying, that's from my Robert, always peeing on people with his grandmother. That's what he has here. Okay. It's fucking insane. So, they find bullets removed from her body. Like we said, that's all together. The duct tape is a match also recovered from his car, or homemade wire handcuffs and an electric taser, which is a bad sign. Also, that's not good.
And an episode of Forensic Files about him.
An episode of Forensic Files and a spec script for Dexter. Very odd. He knew that's his. They stole it from him. Isn't that amazing? Great story. Stole it from him.
Incredible.
Weird. Super weird. So they found a knife sheath from which the knife was missing, and the sheath tested positive for blood later on when tested. Oh, there's more.
How?
There's even more. That's nothing. Even if you didn't have all of that, the rest of the stuff they find is enough evidence. That they could just, all of that doesn't matter.
That's all like the best stuff.
They could take that, put it in a box and throw it in the river and then piss in the river as it floats downstream, and it wouldn't fucking matter. It wouldn't fucking matter, literally.
Okay.
Like an unwanted Chinese baby girl just down the river, just right in a box. I don't know if that practice is still done, but they did that for years, for a long time.
Off the side of a cliff with you.
That's it. It's like an elderly Eskimo off to sea with you. So a black leather belt also recovered. Now, on the back of the belt, the names Carol Jablonski, 4/23/1991, Burlingame, California, and Eva Peterson, 4/23/1991, Burlingame, California.
He's legitimately putting notches on his belt.
Were written in ink. He didn't even write them in pencil so he could try to erase them real quick.
Or so that it just falls off with the sweat.
He wrote that shit in ink.
Wow.
To make sure that it stayed there, and he knew. Jesus Christ, man. The handwriting expert, by the way, determined that the belt was his handwriting, as was the address book found in his wallet. All matches his handwriting. So there's more. There's more.
Oh, my God.
By the way, you could take all this, put it in the box with the rest of the shit and the baby, and push it down the river and keep pissing.
This is like an infomercial. Like you're jamming all this shit into a box and you're like, but wait.
But wait.
Hey, we're crazy around here.
We've offered you the frying pan. We've offered you the nonstick frying pan. We've offered you the sauce pot. But now, if you order right now, we're going to throw in this colander and all the utensils, a 48-pack of spatulas and non-stick safe kitchen equipment. All of this for
the blender with the stainless steel blades.
But there's more.
Yeah.
You're like, well, how much stuff are you sending me for $20?
I don't have enough room for this shit. I live in an apartment. Put all this?
No. So, not only that, blue pants found in a travel bag were stained with semen and human blood, matching the victims, obviously, and the semen matching, guess who? Him. So,
clearly not theirs.
My semen and their blood were in the same room at the same time. That's a bad fucking sign right there. Also, here we go. Throw the pants down the river too. They'll float on their own probably. Also found in his vehicle was a tape recording in his voice in which he described in great detail his crimes. He described arriving at Carol's residence, killing them, sexually assaulting Eva Peterson. In the tape, he described shooting Spadani through the brain, tying duct tape around her mouth and nose, and stabbing her in the throat.
That's all you need.
slicing open her breast and, quote, stabbing her ass and pussy.
He said that.
He said those exact words. He also described shooting Peterson, how much he liked fondling her breasts and sodomizing her.
Oh, my God.
Because he did that also before he stabbed her. He liked having sexual intercourse, and that he had failed attempts to, quote, take her eyes out. Had a hard time there. He also described stabbing her in the throat and in her stomach, ass, and pussy, as he put it.
That's a
quote, unquote. It was, quote, in her stomach, ass, and pussy. After he killed the women, he described moving their bodies, making himself a meal. You know, he had to eat. He's hungry. That's a lot of action.
That's a lot of killing.
To kill and sexually assault people? Jesus. Showering.
There's nobody here to make me a sandwich.
That's the problem. So he ate, he showered, and then he went back and he was like, I'm going to go shoot Eva Peterson through the mouth again because I'm not sure she's quite dead yet. So,
no way.
Yeah, he ate and showered, left her there to die, and then just was like, let me just put one more through her brain just in case.
Unbelievable.
Just in case.
That was that far later.
Yeah, that was that far fucking later. Yeah, that was, he was just like, yeah, let me go back. Yeah, I mean an hour. He ate a meal, he showered. He,
I'm shocked by that.
Shuffled around the house and was like, let me just shoot her one more time.
That's too much.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I'm done with that. That's what he did. Now, also found in the car, there's more.
Wait, there's more.
There's more.
And free shipping.
But there's more, Jimmy. There's more. Lifetime warranty is what this is right here. The belt found in the car after he was arrested, which had Peterson and Spadani's names and death dates, also had one thing else on there. Fatima N. Hansen for 2291.
Oh, no.
And Palm Desert written under there. So he put that under there. Her military identification was also found in his car.
Oh, what a dick.
Yeah. He also kept that as a souvenir. On the same tape in which he described the Peterson-Spadani murders, he also described in graphic detail his sexual assault upon and murder and mutilation of Fanny Hansen, Fatima Van.
Is that for him to listen to later?
That's for him to make sure he doesn't want to forget anything. That's what I mean. And also, the more evidence he has, that's the more power he has over you're not catching me and I have all this. Right. I really believe that's what it is. I'm not sure that he's not getting pulled over on purpose. I'm not positive
that's a great point.
that he's not getting pulled over just to get out of it and get the fuck off on that shit. That he got one over on
Tug to it again going down the road.
I would not put that past him. Because how many times do you get pulled over a year? I've been pulled over once in my life, and it wasn't even for a traffic thing.
I get pulled over all the time.
It was for, yeah, that's true. You drive like an asshole, though. But twice in 2 days, usually?
No, never.
In separate states?
Never.
No. That's what I mean. Like that.
I haven't been pulled over in probably 10 years.
And then Burlingame, too. So, I mean, that's just the other thing.
In a week, he's been pulled over 3 times.
He's had 3 different police interactions in a week. With that has to be on purpose, I feel like. I mean, I don't know, but it's
reckless
to keep all that on you. And especially, let's say, after the Wyoming incident, wouldn't you dump all that shit?
Yeah, you think
and be like, holy shit, that was really close. If this guy searched through my car, I'd be fucked and I have all this evidence.
Right.
Let me throw all of this in a box in the river, and dump all this shit, bury it in the woods or something, just in case I get pulled over again. Him, nope, gets pulled over the next day. Wouldn't you be so careful?
Yeah.
Nope. So I really believe that.
And this is post Bundy. You can't be arrested somewhere and just be like, I don't have a name. You know,
I don't know.
Anymore.
This is the 90s. This is 91, which we still don't have, great, but there's computers now. There are actual computers. Now, on the same tape, like I said, he describes that, describes sexual assault and murder and mutilation. The funny thing is here, they said that, later on, he also describes the woman he was going to attack but dropped his gun.
Yeah.
And I guess the prosecution later on would play the tape found in the car, which he described seeing a woman and child at a rest stop. And the woman, I guess, wasn't the Shelby woman. So this was another woman he had in his sights because Shelby didn't have a child with her.
Right.
This woman had a child. So that was not even something he documented in his tape. But he almost went after another woman. He expressed the desire to rape and kill this woman who had her in front of her child. But yeah, so that's what he was doing. He was
Christ.
He was in a complete animalistic fucking berserker, kill everything, go from state to state in a killing spree.
Yeah.
We don't see this that often.
No.
Over the course of this many days, to just, usually it's a day, it's a couple days. We usually don't see, like Bundy had that crazy night.
Yeah.
Like we don't see like, other times it was cooling off periods. Right. This is just kill. Yeah. He just, it's like a fucking hobby for him almost. It's weird. He's like a cokehead, but with murder.
It's a sick game.
He's a sick son of a bitch. So, the tape also narrated how he shot, the elderly woman, Margie Rogers, at the truck stop, opened up her blouse and fondled her and did all of that shit. So, this is ridiculous. He writes a letter later on where he describes these crimes to a person that he just sent a letter to, that just started interacting with him through the Pen Pal program.
Just now, like yesterday.
No.
No, I mean, like you write a letter to him yesterday, and now he's got things to say that are horrible.
Oh yeah. He's,
right out the gate.
The first letter is not going to be like, "Hey, how are you?" The first letter is, quote, "Before I murdered Eva and Carol, I was going to college. I met a female," and he uses the N-word here, female N-word in repair class. I kidnapped her after class one night to take her out into a field. I had a killing kit made up of a stun gun I used on the N-word and a buck knife and wire handcuffs I used on her. I raped, sodomized, and tortured her and slit her on the side of her head and forehead and pull out, and they couldn't tell, it's illegible, and had necrophilia sex / sodomized her and severed her huge nipples. I carved I Heart Jesus on her back and threw her with a trash pile. After I killed Ava and Carol, I murdered a elderly female store owner. She was 65 years old and had the body that I enjoy to rape and sodomize her and sever her small nipples. And then he also says about Carol and her mother, quote, "And the murder of my fourth wife and her mother. My wife Carol died a slow death. I tortured her to death in front of her mother. Carol took the longest to die of all my murder victims."
Wow.
So he did that on purpose, tortured her in front of her mother.
He hated her.
To do, and her mother too. He did this to torture her in front of her mother, which is fucking, that's double. Think about the sickness involved. He's doing all this and he's going to torture you twice because he's going to make you see this and then torture you more. It's fucking insane. This is like some nutty shit.
My Christ.
Yeah, he has no redeeming qualities, this guy, whatsoever. None. At least it was like Ted Bundy. At least the judge was like, you might have been a good lawyer someday. Like there's nothing.
Could have been a politician.
There's nothing redeeming about this fucking man. He's just a complete and utter piece of shit. So, he's interrogated, obviously here, by a Jesus Christ, a detective Barfnecht.
No.
His name is Barfnecht. Barfknecht.
That is Barfnecht.
Barfnecht.
That is terrible.
That sounds like you're talking about how drunk you got. I got Barfnecht last night, man. I mean, it was coming out of my neck. It was so bad. Barfnecht. The act of being shit-faced.
It sounds like something horrible that the mafia does to somebody to get rid of them.
Let me tell you something. Petey, come here for a minute. Let me talk to you. Listen, Petey, we can get rid of this son of a bitch. You understand me? You know what he fucking did. You know
I don't want him.
He's talking.
I don't want him treated nicely.
You know who he's talking to.
Yeah.
You know who he's talking to. I want an example made of him. You understand me? No, I want a fucking example.
Yeah.
I want him to be found in the middle of the street. Right where everybody knows, everybody could see him, and I want him to be Barfnecht. Petey, Barfnecht, this son of a bitch. I'm not kidding. I'm not fucking around. Petey, you Barfnecht him good, or you're going to be the next one to be Barfnecht.
You should, boss, that's extreme. You sure?
Did I fucking stutter? What am I doing? I'm standing. Who's in charge? Who's the guy who calls for the Barfneckins? That's what I'm going to ask you right now. One of us here is in charge of calling for Barfneckins, and one of us is in charge of what?
Doing the Barfneck.
That's right, Petey. That's you. That's you, Petey. I'll tell you who to Barfneck. You fucking Barfneck him. You got a problem, you'll be getting Barfneck next.
I can see it. In my head, I see a picture of somebody Barfnecked, and it's gross.
It's terrible.
It's vile.
It's like a garroting, but way worse. So,
you know that where they slit the bottom of your mouth and then they pull your tongue down.
Oh yeah,
this is the opposite. They slit your throat
Columbia
and then
necktie
pull
style.
your stomach out of your throat.
Yeah,
like that's a barf neck.
Yeah, that's a barf neck. Give him a good barf necking. No, I want to see everything. I want his pancreas on the outside of his shirt. That's what I'm telling you right now. Make sure you get it all.
Get in there, so I want your shoulder to have his saliva on it.
You ever make a Thanksgiving turkey? There's things in there you don't want. That's what I'm saying. Pull them out. So
I want his butt cheeks to come inside his body because you pulled so hard.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's what I want.
I think we needed that. And then after that, see if he wants this amazing set of kitchenware, spatulas, $29.95, free shipping, lifetime warranty. Everybody,
everything for your kitchen. We'll throw in a TV.
Hey, that's right. We'll throw in a TV with your buff necking. So. Detective Barfnecked. Yeah. And we needed that, by the way, after all the anal stabbings. Wild. We really needed that. And a sheriff's department, Sergeant Haslau, were there at the Burlingame Police Department. Now, before the interrogation, they agreed, the officers agreed that they would continue to question him even if he invoked his Miranda rights. They said, even if he says he doesn't want to talk, we're going to fucking keep bothering him.
Even if he says lawyer.
Yeah.
Just cover your ears and hum.
Yeah.
I didn't hear lawyer.
I didn't hear lawyer.
I heard nothing.
Lawyer. Well, the other thing they do too, and it's weird because you ask for a lawyer, but that doesn't mean that they'll stop talking to you. Mm-hmm. It's a weird thing. Like, even if you, like in The Wire, in the Homicide book, the David Simon book, they talk about how they will keep a lawyer out of the room because basically, like, the lawyer will get there, and the lawyer can't get there and go, I want to see my client now. Right. The client has to request, so they'll keep the lawyer sitting out there until the client starts saying, is my lawyer in the building and all that. Yeah. They try to keep the client and the lawyer separated for as long as possible.
Because the lawyer will be like, shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up. That's it. He's never saying another word now.
He's done talking to you.
Yeah, the lawyer's, intelligent and knows the law. Uh-huh. So that's how this shit works. So they do that. They said in order to obtain this evidence here, they didn't care. They wanted investigative leads. They weren't worried about what they got out of him and the legalities of it. They were worried about, do you have any fucking women tied up anywhere? Right. Are there more bodies? Yeah. What the fuck? They were more worried about that.
Calling home. Is our daughter there, honey?
Yeah, that's literally what they were more worried about than if we were going to get evidence that, statements that could be impeached later. Right. They wanted the actual shit. So, this deal, the interrogation began at 10:30 a.m. and lasted until 2:30 p.m. And this includes a lunch break and a refreshment break. So that sounds downright pleasant. Yeah. 4 hours with two breaks, one for lunch. Not bad at all. You got a sandwich in you. I mean, that's easier than recording, So,
we don't even eat.
No, we don't eat shit. So, during the course of the interrogation, he invoked his right to counsel 11 times. Mm-hmm. So 11 times he said, not talking, want my lawyer, not, they were just kept going. Yeah. The first 4 times he did it, he tried to get his counsel, came at the beginning of the interrogation. The first time he asked for it was in response to the statement, quote, we just want to go with you, to flow and kind of let you tell us what you know, what happened, or what you've seen in the last 10 days or so. And he responded, quote, I won't say anything until I see my lawyer. To which the detective responded, that's obviously you're right, but he also suggested maybe he wants to get something off his chest, as that's the first thing. Yeah. The first thing they try to appeal to the moral side. You want to tell somebody.
You want to come clean?
You don't want that sitting on you the whole time. What would your mom think about it? They start going into shit like that.
Do you believe in Jesus?
Yeah, you can tell these guys don't know who they're dealing with because they're barking up the wrong fucking tree right away with that bullshit.
Absolutely.
You almost have to do the thing that like John Douglas did, which you've seen on the Mindhunter show now, but he actually did in the book where he has to be like with Richard Speck, man, how'd you fuck all those women? Yeah. He had to do it like get down on his level almost, I believe, with this guy because he's morally, that's not doing shit. So they said, maybe you want to get something off your chest. He said, Jablonski said, I want to talk to him before I say anything to the lawyer. So the policeman asked him if he knew Fatima Van, and he declined to answer. Fanny Hansen. When Barfnecked asked him if he took classes with Fanny, he replied, "I said I ain't gonna say anything until I talk to a lawyer." Pretty clear. So the other detective replied, "Okay, we understand that. Look, don't you feel like you could get this off your chest now?" Again, he said the same shit again.
Have you seen my victims?
Have you seen
fuck what's on my chest?
Yeah. So he said, quote, "Not until I talk completely to a lawyer to see what he has to say." Yeah, obviously this guy doesn't give a shit.
Right.
seeing that shit would give you nightmares.
Oh my God.
Imagine doing it.
Yeah.
How to be able to live with yourself, you have to be a fucking monster, an absolute monster. So he again invoked his right to counsel when, after discussing the car trip from California to Kansas, Barfnecht again thought that he said, hey, maybe you want to get it off your chest. He said, guess what? Guess what he said? I'd rather not say anything until I talk to a lawyer. Again, I understand that. He said, you've already said that on the tape and it's there. So he's trying to tell him, look, we already know what you did. It's on the tape. You already did that shit. He said, I just, I would think if I was in your position, I'd certainly like to get some of this stuff off my chest so that I'd feel a little bit better anyway. Right. He said, maybe we can help you out. I got some people that would like to talk to you about some of your problems. So he's trying to make him, you have problems. I mean, he's trying to make him, maybe you couldn't help it. You're a victim of the whole thing.
Barfnecht is being a real dick here. He's going to fuck this up.
He's trying hard here.
He needs to just high five his partner and be like, who cares what he has to say?
I don't give a fuck what he has to say.
That treasure trove of fucking evidence? It's over.
I think they want to be the guys to come out and be like, there's a woman tied up in a closet somewhere and we're going to go rescue her. I don't know what the fuck. Or they honestly thought, who knows how many more people could be out there. There's a trail probably. So he said, Jablonski replied, I'd rather wait to see my attorney. And so then the detective sits down and he goes, well, let me tell you my problem, okay? I'm from Burlingame, okay? And I need to know, I need to know a few things that's going to help me out. And I think you owe it to the people, at least let the other people know what happened to the relatives. Don't you feel that way? And he said, quote, like I said, I'd rather just talk to a lawyer and see what he has to say before I say anything. So he's got this down. He's like a fucking gangster, this guy, when it comes to the lawyer shit.
I was in the bedroom.
I didn't see nothing. I don't know what you're talking about. Boffneck? I don't know anybody who's Boffneck. What's Boffneck? And I don't know nothing about that. Petey? I never met Petey before. I don't know Petey. So the next two times he invokes his right to counsel were in response by attempts of the officers to elicit from him a description of the pressure he said that had been building when he was living in Indio, because he talked about it on the tape, that he had pressure building up inside him, which is what a lot of these serial killers, the exact word they all use is pressure. And this was before that was a public thing that everybody knows, the pressure building inside.
So he's not milking it. This is legit.
Oh, he's got problems. No one does this shit for fun. Like you have to be driven to cut nipples off and shit. That's weird and fucking twisted.
It's too far.
Yeah, it's too far.
It's too much.
It's a drop heavy. Yeah, let's just say that.
That's outside of the realm of friendly.
Yeah, I would say that's. You know what? I'd call that not neighborly.
No, yeah.
There's right neighborly, and then there's not. Yeah. So. They said, the detective said, you know how this thing works. You know that we can't use any of this stuff against you in a court of law because you've already. He's basically saying you've invoked your right. Obviously, we're abusing that at this point. So he said, quote, this tape will never be heard by anybody except us. Matter of fact, I'll turn the damn thing off because they were tape recording, obviously. He said, I'll turn the damn thing off if you want. I want to know what happened in my town. The relatives of these people want to know what happened in my town. I'd sure appreciate it if you'd help me out a little bit here. And he replied, well, I gotta go stand trial, so I'd rather wait and talk to a lawyer. Sorry, your town doesn't mean shit to me.
I'm gonna be wrapped up for a while with these damn trials coming up.
I'm gonna be busy for the next
I got pre-trial hearings,
6 months or so.
Bail. I got things to talk about.
I have a feeling a psychiatrist is going to want to talk to me. One or two or three or four or five. Because
so you could call those relatives and tell them to holler at me in the fall.
Yeah, tell them to listen to the tape. That's what happened. Fuck, it's awful. But I mean, I don't know what you want from me.
Hit rewind, motherfucker.
Yeah, you know what happened.
Be kind, rewind.
You just told me you know what happened. So what are you asking me for? So finally, at the end of why do I automatically put myself in the position of the interrogator person being interrogated all the time?
I don't know.
In that scenario, I automatically put myself in that position, and I'm on their side somehow, and figuring out a way out of it.
Why is that right? Out of your face.
Yeah. What the fuck is my problem? And even obviously, I want this guy to bad things to happen, but automatically in my mind.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about a healthy, delicious item, Hero Bread. And we're both trying to get healthier this new year. Jimmie had a eye-opening doctor's appointment and things like that. So we're trying to get healthier, and I'm telling you right now, this hero bread is a good step in this direction. It's delicious, and it is really good for you, and it's really excellent. They have the sliced bread is good, the bagels, the tortillas. I know you've been
they're terrific.
Ranting about the tortillas. They're so good. With hero bread, you can focus on your health goals and still indulge in the soft, fluffy experience you love, but guilt-free. I really love the little Hawaiian rolls, too.
Yeah.
They're so good. They're so good. The Hawaiian rolls, they're legit. They're fluffy. Yeah. They're exactly how you want them to be. You'd never know it's low-carb and high-fiber bread from the texture. You get the soft, fluffy experience you know and love with your savory breakfast sandwich, late-night grilled cheese, Taco Tuesday. Do it. Yeah. No compromises, just flavor, ultra-low net carbs, 0 grams of sugar, high in fiber. It's fantastic. Hero Bread is offering 10% off your order. Go to hero.co and use the code SmallTownMurder at checkout. That's SmallTownMurder at HERO.co.
And now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you all sorts of good stuff about Chime. That's what I'm talking about. There's so many extra fees you have to pay in life. Everything. You go to the airline, there's an extra ticket on that. There's extra fee on every fees and fees, hotels, fees, all this type of stuff. We're trying to make progress, and the next thing you know, here comes another fee coming at you, and it's more money than you expected, and your whole math is thrown off, and it's awful. Learn more at chime.com/smalltownmurder. Chime is great with that stuff. I mean, you can't beat if your things are a little tight, especially around the holidays or after the holidays. Yeah. You need that money a couple days early, or you go grocery shopping. You got a car payment due. There's so many things that don't cross over exactly how you want them to cross over. Make progress toward a better financial future with Chime. Open your account in 2 minutes at chime.com/smalltownmurder. That's chime.com/smalltownmurder. Feels like progress. Banking services and debit cards provided by Bancorp Bank N.A. or Stride Bank N.A., members FDIC. Spot me eligibility requirements and overdraft limits apply. Boosts are available to eligible Chime members enrolled in Spot Me and are subject to monthly limits. Timing depends on submission of payment file. Fees apply at out-of-network ATMs.
And now back to the show.
So finally, at the end of the interrogation, the detective asked Jablonski whether he'd be willing to talk to a doctor, to which Jablonski replied, I'd rather do that after I seen my lawyer and see what the complications of that would be, or have one present. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if it's advantageous to me to see a doctor. Maybe I will, but I'm going to talk to my fucking lawyer first. I'm not going to piss until my lawyer says it's a good idea to flush afterwards. Smart. Now, he just clammed up completely. In addition to constantly wanting his lawyer, he also declined to answer a number of questions that were, kind of not murder specifically. Did you murder this person, or when, or how? That he declined to answer any questions about Fatima Van, like we said. He also would not describe the flashbacks he said he suffered as a result of service in Vietnam, because he had said that before. And he also he wouldn't answer questions about whether he had been in Burlingame and when he had left California. He wouldn't answer anything. They were like, "We know you were in Burlingame because you have a goddamn ticket," and he was just like, "Nah, I don't know. I want to talk to my lawyer." So wouldn't answer shit.
I'm impressed.
Yeah, he's a stone gangster when it comes to the interrogation room. That's if that was all he did, it'd be wonderful. Also, he failed to answer certain questions about Carol Spadani that they answered that were innocuous. Also, he refused to answer some questions about his criminal history, his family background, why he didn't use a credit card, which he had in his possession, which belonged to Eva Peterson. They talked about the police stop in Wyoming, also about the unspecified pressures he said he'd been experiencing in California, whether they were asking him whether something had set him off, and also they were asking him whether he wanted to get caught. Were you trying to get caught? And so that's another thing.
I mean, it's an interesting strategy to just be like, prove it. I don't know. I don't know any of this shit. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well,
pin it on me if you're going to pin it on.
Well, what you do.
But it's an interesting strategy.
That's what gangsters do.
When you're that fucking
caught.
When
you're that caught, it's ridiculous.
That would
silly.
Be like Dahmer walking into the room being like, bodies and acid.
I don't know what you're talking about. I really like the ladies, as a matter of fact.
I'm a huge fan of the
ridiculous
pussy.
I
That's
like
the word.
The heterosexual sex is what really gets me going. I gotta tell you, really.
I feel like it would have been a big tell when he would use medical terms.
I like vaginas.
I'm really into labia.
I like hot vaginas. Yeah, that would have been a weird thing. They'd have been like, really?
Vulva gets me hot.
It's super, super sexy. I really like it. Do you now? Oh yeah,
very interesting.
Oh yeah, it's really pretty.
Labia minor, all that stuff.
All that stuff.
It's really.
So he refused to answer questions or talk to them about his route he had taken from California to Kansas, his financial situation in general, his basic relationships with women, details of his prior offenses, his life after his release from prison. They even tried to talk to him about how shitty Indio was. Yeah. Like, yeah, I know that sucks, right? Like, they know he doesn't like it, and no one likes Indio.
Sorry you're down there, bud.
That's what it was. And so he wouldn't talk about anything. At one point, he acknowledged that he had, quote, done wrong in Burlingame and Indio. That's all he would do. Uh-huh. And when he was asked what he was, they asked what was going to happen to him, he answered, I'm going back to prison for life or on death row. I don't know. Uh-huh. So he knew he was fucked, but he just didn't want to make it easier, I guess. Now, Utah, they have a decision to make about, the whole thing of
rape at the truck stop.
Yeah, the truck stop rape. They have a lot to think about there. First of all, he waived extradition back to California, by the way.
You let him do it,
from Kansas, yeah. Now, no charges.
I don't blame him. From Kansas?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of there.
Well, that's what it is. Yeah, let's get out of Kansas here. Plus, in Kansas, all they had was a parole violation, so that would have, whatever.
I mean, the parole violation still puts you in Leavenworth. Isn't that in Kansas?
Well, no, I think they'd bring you back to where you're paroled from.
Okay,
I don't think you'd have any chance of ever staying in Kansas.
You don't have jurisdiction over that.
You have nothing. Right. Yeah. So, no charges end up being filed in Utah, and they talked to the prosecutor, and he said, quote, if there were any concern that he would escape justice if we didn't file, I would be prepared to do it right now. But he's in prison in California and will probably stay there whether I file charges or not.
Right. That's legal talk for, do you see how fucked he is?
He's pretty fucked. He had tapes and videos. He drew a big painting of like a smiley face guy stabbing a woman in the ass. It's a really...
Tell you what, if that falls through, we'll follow up.
But, we'll always have this. No statute of limitations on what we got. So if he slips through the cracks, we'll go ahead and pick him up.
Like Danny Zuko and the chick from Greece. We'll always have that summer.
We'll always have that summer.
We'll always have this.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly what it is. So, they're not gonna file anything. After he was, returned to California, Burlingame officials also considered, letting Grand County, Utah take the case first. They said, why don't we let Utah file charges, because Utah is much more likely to carry out a death penalty than California. So they were like, we really want to kill this guy.
Mormons versus liberals. We'll kill him.
We want to kill this guy bad.
Right.
Like, we really want to kill him. In Utah, they enjoy killing people over there.
Oh, they have fun.
They're gonna have a good time with it.
It's fascinating.
Maybe we want to have him there, but in the end they said, nah, let's take him first. Let's do that. California, they said, quote, our in-house thoughts were that California hasn't executed anybody since 1967. In my opinion, Utah has the best probability. You have executed people, we have not. Right. That's okay.
I mean, they've done it with like firing squads.
They do it whatever.
They've done it all kinds of ways. California does it by like watching you turn gray and wrinkle, and then you
actually get bad kale. I feel like, and then you go kale.
You get salmonella from a kale salad.
From your weakened state from being in prison, you'll just die like that. And they're like, we got him.
That's how they kill everybody. They age
killed
him,
and he's happy, and it's fine.
They got Manson like that.
Wither him away. So, then he says, quote, regardless of that, we have him back. We're going to try him first, and the district attorney here feels we have a good case. I would say so. Yeah. Now, once again, we'll say this. We've said it a lot, but if you're a new listener, Jimmie and I are not, neither of us are enthusiastic death penalty people. We're not really, we're not into it. They fuck it up way too much.
Not choice number one.
They find all sorts of innocent people, and we don't like that at all. And
although,
if there's any goddamn possibility, if it was just two people in a room and he's denying it and we don't have any physical evidence and it's a tough thing to do. Right. But when a guy is literally has a box of evidence, like he just got fired from his job and he's leaving with a fucking box with a pile potted plant sticking out of the top of evidence of everything he did, describing it word for fucking word.
Right.
And there's evidence and blood and semen and bullets and ballistic, every bit of evidence you could possibly have.
There may as well be a nipple necklace with each nipple from each person on
Besides the district attorney being in the room witnessing him doing this to these people, there's really very little he did that's not fucking like very, very incriminating. So in this particular case, they could take him directly from the courtroom outside and beat him over the head with a bowling ball, and I'd be perfectly okay with it. Fine.
Duct tape him to a wall backward and drive that Ford Fairlane up his ass.
I don't care
fine
what
with
you do. You could do anything you want. You could do it the silliest way. You could do it like a cartoon. You could say, let's reenact some fucking Wile E. Coyote Roadrunner.
See what
shit.
happens when you drop a Yamaha piano on somebody.
I have a giant Acme slingshot. Let's give it a whirl. What do you say?
Anybody got a safe?
Fuck it.
Can we see what that looks like?
I haven't seen a giant anvil in a while. Could I have one? And a rope, please. So that's I don't care. This guy, fuck this guy. He definitely did all this shit.
Paint a tunnel on a wall and shoot him out of a rocket and see if he goes through the tunnel.
Yeah.
Let's try it.
And when you disagree, you listen to what he says. Because, I mean, like I said, I'm fine with people that don't want anybody to be executed because they fuck it up a lot. But like I said, this guy is like, he's the one in however many that you go, yeah, fuck him.
Right.
Fuck this guy.
This is a lot.
We don't need him.
He's done too much.
Yeah. So June 14th, 91, he's indicted finally with the murders of Carol Spadani and Eva Peterson, with special circumstances that the murder of Peterson occurred while he was engaged in the commission or attempted commission of rape or sodomy, because he bragged about all of that. In addition, to prior murder and multiple murder special circumstances, it's also alleged that he had personally used a firearm in the commission of the offenses. Also there's prior felonies, so he shouldn't have had. There's all sorts of shit. All sorts of little charges they tack on with
doing that while
robberies
on parole.
While on parole for what?
Murder.
Fucking murder. Unreal. Murder. And you were in prison before for what? Rape.
Right.
Yes. So he's a terrible person.
He's really bad.
September 25th, 1991, the trial court, he enters a plea of not guilty and a denial of all special allegations there. So he pleads not guilty, and then he ends up pleading not guilty by reason of insanity. Obviously, he's going to go for the insanity defense here. Now, they had June 3rd, 1993. They suspend criminal proceedings to determine whether he is competent to stand trial, and then in November, the jury finds him competent, and criminal proceedings are reinstated. Now, January 25th, jury selection begins. January 25th, 1994. By the way,
so that's what happened.
It's later on.
OJ happened.
OJ, the Menendez trial, fucking Tanya Harding.
There's no need to talk about this guy.
The Dahmer was going on at this time. He was going in prison. This was the Dateline or 2020, whatever. They had Dahmer on and all this shit. But I would think they'd be looking for more crazy stories. But there was so much crazy going on. Yeah, that's a good point.
Nordberg murdered somebody. We don't need this guy.
Well, that happened 6 months later after the trial. But still, it's fucking. It's not. You're not going to hear about it.
Right in the wheelhouse.
And this is exactly when Tanya Harding thing happened, and that was going on. And like we said, the Menendez trial happened, and the second one was like 93, 94. So this is all
right in the wheelhouse of crazy America.
Crazy shit. Yeah, this is Jerry Springer America going. Yeah. This is when America collectively threw a chair at itself.
While chanting Jerry. And one lone bald man is trying to make sense of the whole situation.
Screaming for a DNA test. Screaming. Just absolutely fucking bellowing for a DNA test.
It's too much.
So now the doctors and the court proceedings and everything here we'll talk about. They talk about a letter that he wrote to Eva Peterson from 1982, which is relevant in this situation. Now he's going to later on he tries to get this suppressed and not in here. And later on in appeals, he's going to say that they abused their discretion. The court did, allowing this in. So while he was in prison there, he wrote Eva, quote, "But of course, I'll try to get hold of your big breasts under your nightie. I would love to feel them and suck their nipples until they got big and round and hard. I would never go down below your waist, but I'm going to make them free game, okay?" So
I would never
go below your waist. So I guess he's saying I'll respect you enough not to fondle you down there.
Or is he saying I'm not a man enough to go down on you?
I think he's doing like like the fucking Biggie lyric. I think
that's disgusting. You think that's what he's doing? He's saying I refuse to eat it.
I think he's
ain't doing it.
No. I think he's saying
you can, but I won't.
I think that's what he's doing. I think he's doing One More Chance lyrics for the album version, not the Faith Hill version.
That's horrific.
So yeah, or
Faith Hill. No.
Faith Evans, Faith Hill. When I say Faith Hill,
Faith Hill better not be singing that.
I would love to see that.
I want to hear it.
I would love to, because I hate that shit.
I want Faith Evans.
I hate any frosted fucking country singer. It's the worst.
I want her doing the Faith Evans part, and I want Tim McGraw doing the Biggie stuff.
Yeah, I would like that.
He says the N-word in private anyway.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Well, it's the radio version. It's pretty void of that.
Pretty clean.
The other one, the album version's a little bit more dirty. It's a little dirty here. So they argue, the prosecution argues that the letter is evidence of his sexual intent toward her, that he wants to do things to her.
Yeah.
Defense counsel argued that the probative value was weak in comparison to the prejudicial nature of the letter, which, the trial court overrules the defense and lets it in. And so they see that. A Dr. H.R. Kormos,
his puffing stuff
I was going to say H.R. Kormos? He's a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
He conducted 8 interviews with Jablonski beginning in March of 93, and these continued all the way up until about a month before the trial. He observed that Jablonski talked to himself, drooled, exhibited facial muscle twitching, and claimed he heard voices and displayed a lack of affect and flat facial expressions. Now,
so he's me.
Well, besides the drooling,
right.
You usually keep your drool in
Sometimes
your mouth, so
drool.
that's good. That's good. Not in public.
Depends on what food's around.
You keep it in your mouth usually in public. Either that or you're good at hiding it. That's why you have a beard.
Yeah.
Now it's to.
Well, now that's the thing though. When you got a beard, it doesn't go inside. It just like sticks on the outside of it.
Oh, nice.
Like I almost want to shave this, but because the food catching it's
that's
horrible.
Gotta be awful.
Oh my God.
I can't
the sauces.
That.
If you eat anything,
it's going to be hot in 2 months, and then you're in deep shit.
You eat anything with barbecue in it, and you smell like barbecue until you shower because it's in your beard.
So you can't smell it.
There's no amount of wiping that off. It's in the hair. It's awful.
The advantage is what?
I don't have to shave.
Okay. All right. That's fine. I was hoping that was what it was.
It saves me some time.
I hope you weren't going to give me some sort of like
this is
reason which was like important.
I look like shit.
No, it's fine. So just doesn't want to shave.
It's not an added characteristic. I look dumb.
You didn't like choose the beard.
No.
You were like, I'm going to grow a beard.
No. Very much like the thug life. It chose me.
It just chose you. Laziness. Well, laziness chose you first.
Yeah.
And then this just piggybacked on laziness.
Slavenness and video games over shaving. That's what I've chosen.
So Jablonski complained he was experiencing flashbacks of traumatic experiences he had as a soldier in Vietnam. And Kormos, the doctor here, diagnosed him as schizophrenic. Now, according to Kormos, Jablonski manifested all the symptoms of schizophrenia, which he testified are known as, and I don't think it's quite like this anymore, the 4 A's: association, affect, autism, and ambivalence.
Yeah.
And he talks about association means he has trouble keeping his thoughts together in a logical fashion and continue to go off in different directions, with the reason for their going off in these different directions not being very obvious to anybody who's around.
Okay.
Affect is obviously mood. He explains schizophrenic people have a flattened mood, which there seems to be no change in their mood.
Yeah.
And he talks about autism, denoting a person who is very much by themselves and not really linked to anyone else, and importantly, doesn't seem capable of linking up with anyone else, which is a very
dangerous.
Fucking broad term for that. That's
dangerous.
Yeah, that's a really.
I don't like that. That's reckless as fuck.
This is 1994.
That's a good point.
This is not. I assume there's probably different medical things going on now, but that's a really weird, because to be a loner because you're like a psychopath is a different thing from being
doing it because you don't want people to know.
A loner because you're autistic. Right. It's a very, very fucking different thing.
I don't like
so
that.
It's odd. Also, ambivalence indicates that the person never seems to be clear about what they want or how they want to go about it, and that kind of ambivalence can be paralyzing.
Okay.
So He seems to know what he wants. He wants nipples.
Yeah.
And he wants to sodomize everybody.
He's driven as fuck.
He's like fucking Panzeram with a nipple fetish. He's a fucking lunatic.
He's got a checklist.
He does.
He's like Santa Claus.
Got that. Yeah. He writes everything down. He's very organized.
Checking it twice.
Do you think maybe he has like he records things because he has disturbances where he loses time or anything like that? That's a possibility. I'm not sure. But or I think he's a sick fuck that likes it. That's what I think. I think that's.
I don't like that they're saying that autism is like an alone thing, because that's not.
No, I mean, but that's one of the symptoms. Is it's not a matter of wanting to be alone. It's a matter of just not.
People don't think like me, so I'm just going to be over here by myself.
It's not even like it's not a conscious choice. You're just fine. They're just fine by themselves. But
don't need you.
But they want. Yeah, to me, it's an evolution. Yeah. It's like
it's unreliable.
That's a great evolutionary thing to not fucking be to not just need the constant like approval and input of everybody is kind of that's evolution. Yeah. We need to get there. Yeah, like they're like Instagram proof. Yeah, they don't give a shit how many likes they have. It's not what they're into. That's great.
Your boy Joey, he loves when people are around.
Oh, he loves it. Joey, because we've worked with Joey a lot. And Joey likes people. He likes people. He wants to be friends with people.
Loves playing video games with people because he hates playing against the computer.
He just doesn't understand how to. He has trouble with other kids. He doesn't understand the nonverbal shit and just the way people are. Where the way they look at you means something, and the way they talk to you. He doesn't get that stuff. So it's a matter of you almost have to. You almost have to like help them build a personality with you have to teach them. They don't know instinctually how to interact with people like on that kind of level. Okay. So you have to like teach them, hey, when someone looks like this, they might be thinking that. Right. So when me and you were talking, I make a facial expression, you just automatically get it. Yeah. You don't ever have to think about it. Whereas he has to like calculate. Right. He did this, so does this mean that or this or that? So it's a constant. It's a lot of work. It's tough. It doesn't come natural.
I don't know, man. If I'm an autistic person, I might just be going, "Fuck you! I don't care. I'm not looking into this.
I'm not autistic, and I'm like that.
Say the words.
I don't care.
Use your words.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck. Yeah, I'm just.
Don't say it with your goddamn eyes.
That's what I mean.
How dare you?
So, this doctor also testified that certain factors of Jablonski's childhood were relevant to his diagnosis, and that he suffered from schizophrenia, about the violent father and the sexual abuse and all that sort of thing. He did testify, however, that the diagnosis of schizophrenia was well supported by his conversations with other psychiatrists who had treated or observed him in the past, and an analysis of his criminal acts, and everything rolled into a big ball here. Another one, Dr. Florent, who was the jail psychiatrist at the San Mateo jail, where he was housed for a while. This guy told Kormos that when Jablonski first arrived at the jail, he seemed psychotic, unable to care for himself, and spouted gibberish, which is interesting. Florent ascribed these behaviors to schizophrenia and prescribed high doses of antipsychotic medication, which he said seemed to help. Now, that's and the other Dr. Kormos said that some of the defendants' physical symptoms were consistent with the reactions of a schizophrenic to the medication. Mm-hmm. So all this is going with, he's even saying like brain chemistry wise, he seems to be schizophrenic.
He's fucked up, that's for sure.
He's definitely fucked up. Yeah, this is not normal. A lot of that. Now, a third psychiatrist, a Dr. Roadbush. We got Barfneck and Roadbush.
No way.
This is ridiculous.
First and last name?
It could Dr. Roadbush. Okay. Or it could be Rudebush, honestly, because it's Rudebush. So Roud.
ROU?
Yeah, it's Rude or Roadbush.
Oh, that's Roadbush.
I'm going Roadbush. Yeah. Hey, guy, don't be barfnecking him a Roadbush. Let me tell you something. That ain't right now. Staff psychiatrist at San Quentin, Mr. Roadbush, or Ms. Roadbush, I don't fucking know. Dr. Roadbush wrote in a 1982 report that Jablonski was schizophrenic and attributed his sexual impulses to schizophrenia. Now, at the time, this is when he was in prison for murdering Linda Kimball, and he hadn't met Carol yet. He just was meeting her at that time. Roadbush told Kormos, all these names are awful,
they are,
that Jablonski came to him and that that he told him Jablonski told Rodebush in prison that while he was massaging Spadani's neck during a visit, she had come to visit him, he was massaging her neck, he'd been disturbed by what he called, quote, weird feelings and an impulse to wrap Spadani's hair around her neck and choke her with it. That's what he told the prison psychologist at the time.
I wanted to strangle her when she visited me in prison.
Yeah, I was rubbing her neck and I had this just desire to wrap her hair around her neck and strangle her with it. Like that's his desire.
That's nuts.
That's his weird fucking thought, the way that goes. So, this Kormos also reviewed a 1978 trial transcript from a civil trial in connection with Linda Kimball's murder, in which a Dr. Thompson testified that Jablonski was a schizophrenic who was psychotic at the time of the homicide and should be hospitalized and not put in prison. He also reviewed reports from a psychiatric group that treated him between 68 and 72 and also diagnosed him as a schizophrenic. And he cited a 1968 diagnosis of schizophrenia made at a VA hospital in Texas. We can say with some relative measure of certainty that he's a schizophrenic, I would say.
He has some mental problems.
He's got some problems. Yeah. So they talked about his history of violence toward women, that he was hospitalized in 1968 and given psychiatric treatment after an incident where he almost drowned this first wife in the bathtub that we discussed. He also exhibited other violent behavior toward his wife, like the smothering with her pillow during sex and all that sort of thing. When Kormos discussed Jablonski's first wife with him, Jablonski complained that she was more involved in her profession as a dog trainer than in their marriage. Now, Kormos said this statement indicated an extreme sensitivity on his part to female rejection, and he said that played a part in disorganizing Jablonski and causing him to function in an irrational manner.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
I think he also has a thing where he feels he's superior to women and somebody doing well at their profession and focusing all their time on that. What, do you think you're fucking better than me?
Exactly. I think he's got a lot of what do you think you're better than me, and I think it's like that with women a lot, and that's so he needs to have power over them, and we'll talk about this. Kormos also said that the decision of the military to hospitalize him for the attempted drowning rather than discipline him indicated that he was probably genuinely disturbed. If the military's buying your loony fucking story, you're probably crazy.
Like, we can't have a gun in that guy's hand.
Yeah, they don't give a fuck though. They're not known as the most sensitive, easygoing court to fool.
If you're a warm body, get out there with that rifle.
Well, either that or get in fucking prison. They don't usually put you in a hospital.
That's my point. Is that right?
Yeah,
if you're not good enough for them, then you're going to be somewhere.
Exactly. So he also, they talked about Jablonski engaged in violence against the woman Jane Sanders, the woman he, Jesus Christ, raped on the first date, but then she remained with him for 4 years.
That's amazing.
They talk about his beating of her and raping her and just everything that he did to her that was terrible. And then they talk about 1978, how he murdered Linda Kimball after she told him that she was leaving him with their child. He told a Dr. Flanagan that he strangled and sexually assaulted Kimball because he, quote, did not want to lose her. So this Kormos opined here that by killing Kimball, Jablonski took possession of her and prevented her from being possessed by another man, which is obvious. He's a sick fuck and he needs, he's got ownership. He described this as a psychotic behavior, I would say. Kormos commented on the fact that there was no evidence of sexual assault besides his description of the murder because the bodies were always decomposed. And further indication, they said, of his tenuous hold on reality and in matters of violence, homicide, sex, and so on. So they're saying he might say he sexually assaulted someone even if he didn't, just because it makes him feel like a bigger man if he did that too. Which who knows if he's capable of. That's the thing. A lot of these times with serial killers of all different kinds, they have different weird sexual hang-ups and capabilities and non-capabilities and whatever.
What they won't do, but what they will do.
It's or what they need to do. It was more like it, what they have to do. Now, Kormos also testified that Jablonski's primary purpose in killing and mutilating Carol and Eva was to express disdain and contempt and to seek revenge on them, obviously. And also, now he gets into some Freud shit here, to solve his relationships with his mother and women in general. He wanted to destroy and be in total possession of his victims, obviously. No shit. They said that He ultimately opined that he was not able to distinguish right from wrong in relation to the acts that we're talking about. The Cormo stated, "The behavior that I understand that took place was behavior that was completely and totally dominated by this psychotic desire to destroy and possess and get back for the unbearable rejections that he felt he's had. And this sexual organ mutilation that's going on," he made that sound like it goes on all the time. Yeah. These kids now with their sexual organ mutilations in the streets every night. Jesus Christ. That's general destruction and humiliation that he's involved in. And this is beyond right or wrong. This is a furtherance of only some set of psychotic thoughts. But he's basically saying he did shit. He's letting his actions decide his state. He did shit so sick he must have been psychotic when he was doing that.
And that's a doctor saying
That's a doctor saying that.
I don't like that.
I don't like that at all.
He should be, if he's doing it, just because he thinks it's warranted and it needs to happen, that doesn't mean that he doesn't know that it's wrong.
Hey, if we didn't say Jeffrey Dahmer was crazy, if we put him in regular fucking prison, then no one's, that's not too many people are crazy. Yeah. Like that means that just because you went off the deep end with the graphicness of your crimes doesn't mean you're crazy.
You're right.
You have to actually be crazy.
This is too much.
Too much. So a Vitaly Rizanko, who's a clinical psychologist, was also appointed by the court to defend and to examine the defendant. He interviewed Jablonski on 5 separate occasions and also reviewed everything like that. He agreed that the defendant here suffered from chronic schizophrenia and, in addition, sexual sadism and a mixed personality disorder. He also agreed that he was psychotic when he murdered Peterson and Spadani. He concluded, however, that he was legally sane at the time he committed these offenses. His conclusion was based on that he interviewed with him. Also, he was that at the time Jablonski was oriented as to time and place. They said, with the time he talked to him, this psychiatrist, that Jablonski looked terrible. He was over medicated and shit like that. But his questions, his answers to questions were logical and relevant. His long-term memory was pretty good. And at times he would contradict himself. Yeah. But he wasn't a loopy, out of it guy. Another psychiatrist, George Wilkinson, this one will come up later on, also interviewed him on 5 separate occasions, did all the different things, looked over all of his history. He said that he had diagnosed him as a post-traumatic stress disorder, not schizophrenic, transient psychotic episodes triggered by overpowering aggressive or sexual feelings that cannot be expressed, and had a passive-aggressive personality with intense feelings of inadequacy, and also was a sexual sadist. There's a cherry on top, because you got to have that. Wilkinson also concluded that Jablonski engaged in malingering behavior. Yeah. This has been said before about him. He's smart. He knows the symptoms, and he fucking pretends. If you don't know, malingering is pretending to have symptoms. So he thinks that. As evidence that he's not schizophrenic, Wilkinson observed that his history did not show social isolation, which is a characteristic of schizophrenia, that Jablonski was able to befriend people, meet and establish relationships with women, and formed a close relationship with another inmate while he was in prison. He had a good friend. Also, despite mental illness and periodic psychosis, he functioned well enough most of the time, indicating the diagnosis of schizophrenia was incorrect. They're saying he's just a sick fuck.
He just needs rules.
He's a serial killer.
Forced to live by them.
Yeah, he's a serial killer that can be fine except when he needs to go do crazy shit like kill people, and then he'll go off on that, and then he'll go back to his life. Right. I mean, BTK killer, outside of horrific, brutal murders, 99.9% of his life was right down the middle lane.
Law-abiding, kept a job.
Right by the book. Made sure everyone kept their goddamn lawn trimmed up. It was ridiculous.
So much by the book that he's writing citations if you're not by the book.
Fucking ridiculous here. Now, the verdict comes down April 25th. The jury convicts him of both counts of first-degree murder and found true all special circumstances except the prior murder special circumstance, which in a separate proceeding was found true. Okay. It's a bifurcated proceeding. It's a very complicated legal thing that doesn't matter. Okay. Considering that the only thing that matters is first-degree murder and special circumstances. So on May 2nd, they did a final insanity thing here. And on May 10th, the jury found that he was sane at the time of the commission of the murders.
Yep.
That was a separate thing. On May 17th, the penalty phase commenced and ends, and it is time for
verdict.
For a penalty verdict on a sentence here. And this is a big, you, sir, may fuck off.
Yeah.
He gets a death penalty.
All right.
Tell him to eat dicks, this guy.
Yeah.
Now, June 17th, the jury returns death verdicts on August 12th, 1994, the trial court denies his automatic motion for reduction of the death verdict and modification of the verdict. He's sentenced to death on each murder.
Yeah.
He's also sentenced to 5 years on each firearm use enhancement, but those sentences were stayed pending the execution of the death sentence. Basically, they're like, if we don't end up killing him eventually, we can always tack that on.
Yeah.
We got those in the bag.
They're hanging out.
By the way, still got one in Utah just in case.
Just in case.
So just in case
we
this
still
guy
have that summer.
This guy ever walks, still have that.
Summer love.
Don't sing it. We'll have to pay. But they still have the dancing around in the sand. Oh, man.
Running in the surf.
Falling on the sandcastle. Yeah. Oh, look at that. No, your whole ass is going to be wet and itchy now. So he's sentenced to death, like we said. Now, he appeals. Yeah. 2006 is his big appeal here. First thing is presence of unauthorized individuals at grand jury proceedings. Basically, present at some parts of the grand jury proceedings that were, returned as indictments were several deputy district attorneys who were apparently observing the proceeding for training purposes. It was a training purpose. They had district attorneys looking it over because they're going to have to do that. Okay. It's like doctors bring around a fucking resident. Yeah. It's the same thing.
Okay.
So in surgery, there's a bunch of people watching the surgery. Those are students that are learning.
So they're all there saying, I concur.
Yeah, exactly. So they're all doing that. Yeah. So they're there. He moves to dismiss the indictment because there's people there. Under a code in the law, it says no person other than those specified in Article 3 and all these different sections, and the officer having custody of a prisoner witness while the prisoner is testifying is permitted to be present during the criminal sessions of the grand jury, except the members and witnesses actually under examination. So they're saying these district attorneys should not have been there because by law they're not allowed to be there.
So we're going to throw out the whole court proceeding?
That's what he's trying to do. Okay. They say, true, they shouldn't have been there by the law, but that did not form any prejudice or anything like that. A bunch of people watching from the back of the room made no difference in the facts. It wasn't a factual thing, so you can go fuck yourself on that count, which I like. Anytime they tell him to go fuck himself, I dig it. I dig it a lot.
Why don't you go rape yourself, sir?
Oh, he really should here. That would be wonderful. The other thing is this Wilkinson, the doctor, the psychiatrist, he talked about him, Jablonski, being a serial killer in court, which was a big deal. The prosecutor elicited testimony from him as to whether Jablonski was a serial killer, and to explain that certain bizarre aspects of Jablonski's behavior were not necessarily indicative of insanity. They were indicative of more like a pathology. So this doctor testified that serial killer is someone for whom killing, quote, releases frequently internal tensions. They'll feel a terrible turmoil, and by doing the murder, they'll not only get a thrill but some internal calming, which is a part of it. Yeah. He also explained that the tape recording that Jablonski made memorializing his crimes and the notation he made on his belt with the names and dates and all of that crazy shit fit the pattern of serial killers who collected souvenirs that help them relive the experience, obviously. And if he has a souvenir and he has his voice telling him about it, he can relive that shit. So they were asked whether this behavior was indicative of insanity, and Wilkinson replied, quote, insanity has a legal definition that must be met in order for that label to apply. It doesn't matter how sick someone is, they have to meet the legal criteria, so it may not be an indication of insanity. Yeah. So fucked up doesn't necessarily mean insane. Exactly. That's what he said, and that's the law.
Ted Bundy was fucked up.
Yeah, tons of people are fucked up, but insane is a very specific designation. It didn't used to be.
Right.
That's the thing. In the 50s and the 60s, insane was like, well, yeah, insane was basically, would a rational person do that?
Right.
And you'd go, fuck no. And then he was insane.
She wants a job? What is she, insane?
Yeah, that was, we should put her in the loony bin.
Right.
But that was how it worked legally a lot back then. And then they changed it in the early 70s, and now it's fucking impossible. Yeah. Now you have to literally not know what planet you're from.
Right.
Not even not know what you're on, where you're from, or
shitting your pants while talking to a rubber wall,
and believing it is underdog.
Right.
Like you have to really fucking. It's crazy shit. So, they talk about, Wilkinson also talked about his conduct, that Jablonski's conduct was a ritualistic way, the way the murders were committed, the way he wanted to exercise control. He had interest in police procedure that were all consistent with patterns of serial killers. His testimony also talked about, the prosecution's, basically they talked about, the proof, how he found all that. This was outside of the jury. This was, to find the legality of it. Seeking a mistrial, the defense argued that serial killer was a, quote, media term, not a classification of mental disease, and whether or not the defendant was a serial killer had nothing to do with sanity, which it kind of does.
Yeah.
He was explaining why he's not insane,
right,
and what other class.
Telling him what he is, not what he's not.
Yeah, he doesn't fall in the insane box. Right. He falls in the serial killer box. They're different fucking boxes. Mm-hmm. They might mix together once. There's an estuary between them.
Right.
But
from time to time, one person's legs are in this box,
and their
torso's in the other.
Like a dead lady's legs could be in the kitchen and her body could be in the garage.
Same.
That shit works. So, Jesus. The defense argued that this characterization might lead the jury to link him with other notorious serial killers, such as the Zodiac Killer or John Wayne Gacy or Bundy or anybody like that. Okay. Which, sorry, if the shoe fits, asshole, wear it. Yeah. You're on that. That's like, shit. Yeah, I was on that team, but I don't want people to think like I was wore the uniform or anything like that. It's like, no, you're on the team, dude. Sorry, we have footage of you just draining threes. You're on the fucking team. So, the prosecutor responded to all this. I think it's important for the jury to understand that there have been studies done of serial murders, and this is a common thing, and that they do not necessarily are indicative of insanity, but a need for power and control. So, also, there was another, testimony from one non-medical professional, a Rosser Donnelly, who's a classmate of I
like this guy already.
Yeah, Rosser. Sad in there, Rosser. Yeah. He was a classmate of Fatima Van and Jablonski at the college. He testified that on April 22nd, this Rosser and Jablonski were supposed to watch a videotape on alternators and generators after the class ended that evening, and the fucking VCR wasn't working apparently, which is miserable. And so Jablonski drove Rosser Donnelly to a restaurant and dropped him off at 7:30. Now, Donnelly testified that had the machine not broken down, that the VCR not broken down, that Rosser would have been in the car with Van and him. So in his opinion, he didn't think that Jablonski was going to murder Van because they were all going to leave together, which maybe he wasn't. But then once he figured out that he was going to be alone with Van, then he went, hey, opportunity.
Right.
He didn't think he was going to have opportunity.
Maybe he broke the VCR.
That's not
out of the realm of possible.
Not at all.
That
Why
happen?
Just jam something in there, fucking done.
Can't get the other one out. This is weird.
Totally. So at the competence hearings here, they talk about all of this, or not the hearings, the appeals of it. 4 experts testified at the competency trial. The defense expert, we talked about all these, Cormos with the schizophrenia. There's also a Dr. Wiener.
Yeah.
Everybody's name is terrible in this fucking thing.
Awesome.
Doctors Frick and Wiener. Each testified that while they initially believed that...
are they the same? Do they have a practice called Frickin' Wiener?
They gotta have Frickin' Wiener. Wiener Frickin' is another... His Wiener Frickin' is fucking... and his barf neck and his... Oh, God.
I want Frickin' Wiener to be a doctor colleague team.
Frickin' Wiener just looks like they make Lunchables or something. It's Frickin' Wiener Company. It's like a dancing hot dog with some crackers around it.
How is that even a possible... How did they get these two in there and be like, are we not trying to have a media circus, or are we?
Yeah, well, they even agreed with each other, Frickin' Wiener. They agreed that they initially believed that Jablonski was not competent to stand trial based on their first examinations, but then subsequent examinations changed their mind, and the Dr. Frick testified that he concluded that Jablonski was competent and, quote, without a doubt, he was malingering. So he's full of shit.
Yeah.
Dr. Wiener testified that he's been made fun of his entire life, and now he's going to make it right, and then he slaughtered everyone in the courtroom. He testified here that after his subsequent examination that he had strong suspicions that Jablonski was malingering as well.
Yes, so, you can just call me doctor this entire trial.
Please, just don't. He doesn't even have patients call him doctor. He's like, just call me Bob. Bob is fine. But doctor, please.
Don't do it.
Jesus. Also, the prosecution's expert, Dr. Missett, testified that M-I-S-S-E-T-T.
God, Jesus.
Missett and Wiener and fucking Barfneck, and it's just a mess.
Frickin' Wiener, Barfneck, and Missett.
That's a law firm for the ages right there. Frickin' Wiener, Barfneck, and Missett.
Christ.
Thank you for calling Frickin' Wiener, Barfneck, and Missett. How may I direct your call? So, finally here, this person here testified that that Jablonski was competent and was also malingering. So a lot of people said he was malingering. They tried to basically they're trying to say that they were all wrong and that his expert was right and that he is not competent and he's crazier than shit.
And they all agree.
And they all agree.
Yeah.
So they all agree that he's crazy, but also very competent.
Yeah. And we all have shit names.
We all have shit names. He also contends that the trial court abused its discretion under a, whatever act or whatever code of the law, violated his due process rights also by admitting at the competency hearing over his objection the tape recording he made in which he described in horrible detail everything that he did there. It had been seized, obviously, upon his arrest. The defense moved to exclude the tape as more prejudicial than probative, and the prosecution said, "What, are you fucking kidding me?" He fucking admitted it on tape what he did.
Probative.
He's not saying it's not his fucking voice. He's saying it's him. I don't know what we're talking about here.
Dismissive.
Yeah.
Stop using those words
fuck
and
off.
just say it's fucking damning.
The prosecution's rebuttal was, "The fuck out of here." That's their official, all the forms. Just, "The fuck out of here" is what they said. And threw it at him like a paper airplane. Fuck out of here. Eat dicks, fella.
As the prosecution just screamed, "Are we out of our mind?
What, are we fucking kidding me? What are we doing? Why are we even in court? The fuck out of here." Assholes.
And the defense goes, "Can I get a new... This is what you assigned me to? What am I, an asshole? This isn't fair."
My God. Jesus Christ.
This is like playing the Yankees, and they're already up 13-0 in the first. Why are we here?
Fuck, what's happening?
Just rain it out.
Yeah, it's the fucking... You know what? He should have been like, you know what? Let him have it. We got everything else. Put it in the box with the rest of the shit. Put it in the box with the Chinese kid. It's fine. It's all right. Don't give a fuck. I got others. Yeah. What do you got? I got ballistics. What do you got that? Well, I got this. Hey, I got your belt. What? Anything else? What do you want, asshole?
I got your semen and blood on jeans.
There you go. I just put that in my pocket for later. I'll keep that.
With me.
I'll give that to Kansas if they need some help later, just in fucking around. Jesus Christ.
Good Lord.
Now they're saying that the tapes are important because he's trying to portray himself as like he doesn't know where he is and he speaks gibberish. And during one of the tests, he couldn't remember the names of 3 simple objects, that he has no memory, that he has an extremely low level of functioning. And they're saying this tape says otherwise.
Right.
This tape has your clear sentences of exactly what you did down in detail.
You said sodomized, sir.
Yeah, that's so. They said that had actually the tapes were very, very important. It supported his theory also that he was feigning mental illness. He was trying to prove the malingering. So, Dr. Frick here in his report says stumbling and barely being able to concentrate was his in his first report. It shows a person whose concentration is good later on, he said. So this shit is different here. Also, there's a failure to discharge a juror. They say that a juror said in the beginning of the trial that she received a telephone call from someone whose voice she didn't recognize, but who identified himself as Carl. Okay. So the juror explained that the only reason she brought the matter to the court's attention was her concern about whether that Jablonski, whose middle name is Carl, maybe had access to the jury's identities and phone numbers.
Oh, God.
And she was worried about it. She was assured by the court that he did not have such access, and she agreed the call was likely a crank call, whatever, just a coincidence. And they asked her whether she was confident she could be a fair and impartial juror, and she said, "Yeah, I don't think it was him that called. It's fine.
I'm just fucking terrified of this.
I was just scared of
He's fucking dangerous.
I heard his voice describe shit, so they ended up letting her stay. And so he's saying they should have just charged her because she was prejudiced to him, which she kind of really wasn't. She was scared of him.
She's terrified of the man,
but not because of that. No. So that's just another thing. Also, the homemade stun gun, homemade handcuffs and stun gun. The officer who conducted the search testified that all the items recovered from the vehicle was all of this, all the shit we said, the duct tape, the handcuffs, the stun gun.
Kill kit.
Yeah, the defense counsel objected to the admission of the handcuffs and stun gun on grounds of relevance. The prosecution said, "The fuck out of here again." The fuck is wrong with this? Did you go to law school, bro?
I'm folding this one into a jet right up your ass.
I got, I'm going to do one. It's going to do a loop right at you. It's going to loop and keep going. Yeah, you got to cut the one little piece and put it in there. It's hard.
Did you go to law school?
You even fucking go to law school? Do you know? I don't see the relevance of this evidence. That's obvious evidence. Jesus Christ. Prosecutor's office offered proof of both items, that they were shown that he would prepared them to restrain or immobilize people before he arrived in Burlingame, and that there was, this was relevant to premeditation there. So they keep going with all this shit, and California Supreme Court upholds the conviction and the death sentence.
Good.
Tells him to get fucked on everything. Everything you're doing is bullshit. So it was decided, and that basically it existed. This was only seeking reversible error, and then he filed a separate habeas corpus case, which was a reinvestigation of the whole case, in which new evidence can be brought and all that shit. But they told him to eat dicks on that also. So he's pretty fucked. So he's in prison.
Okay.
So he's got to find friends.
Yeah.
Because he likes to be a pen pal.
Oh, God, boy, does he.
So he's got a call for pen pals. I don't know if anybody's interested, if they'd like to hear it, but here's his pitch.
No.
Oh, I got his pitch here. Quote, "I ask for your indulgence, ladies, bisexual and straight. I promise to be as brief as possible. Allow me to introduce myself, Death Row Teddy Bear, seeking open-minded bisexual or straight males and females for unconditional, blunt correspondence on a mature and honest level. Someone who has a caring heart to carry a special friendship built from the heart." This is very nice.
That was so Julius Caesar. Women, lesbian, and the like.
Anyone, the like. And
lend me your nipples.
Men with your penises, bring them. Bring me your penises. Let's share our thoughts and feelings, good and bad, as we learn about one another freely and watch the growth of our friendship bloom like a rose. Let our friendship bloom right like a rose is the next sentence. Let our friendship be strong as a castle wall which cannot be broken. A loving heart is worth more than a mountain of gold. Love to communicate on any subject or issue. I love cats, horses, dolphins, birds, foxes. I like history, reading, I'm a professional artist, amateur poet. I write, award-winning essay an artist. Please don't just sit there and think that someone else will write, because if everyone is sitting there and thinking the same thing, then no one will write to me and brighten up my boring day. Please don't let the knowledge that I am a serial killer and my situation stop you from writing me. Pick up your pen and pay me a visit. Any ethnicity or age, I guarantee I will make a speedy reply to all these letters, and I'll throw in a full set of knives. $19.95. You got your frying pan. You got your 2-quart saucepan. You're going to need that. No sticking on the bottom. Spatulas, lifetime warranty.
Boy, do I hate this man.
And I will throw in a speedy fucking reply.
Wow.
Send all letters to Philip Jablonski, C-02477 1EB66, San Quentin State Prison 94964. So, why do women like him?
I don't get it.
Why would you send him a letter?
You can do that still?
You can send him letters. This is now. This is from death row.
He's still alive?
Oh, he's alive.
No!
He's not been executed, and he's not died yet.
And they're not going to kill him 70s. Because they can't right now.
He's in his fucking 70s.
Oh, my God.
He's going to sit there. How has no one stabbed this guy in the face yet? I don't understand that either. This is crazy.
It's the 23-1 thing, right? He only gets 1 hour out of his cell,
it's
right?
It's fucking nuts. No, this, I don't know even.
Death row's a different lifestyle anyway.
Death row's totally different. So, yeah, he's got to be locked down. If he's on death row, you're locked down all the time.
Why is he still alive,
James?
This
is fucking I don't know how
I wanted to know what he ate last.
How could he not have a goddamn heart attack or something? Jesus, people die all the time.
The shittiest are the most resilient.
So I found this one.
No.
Yeah, there's a quote here from a doctor talking about why some women are attracted to this.
Yeah.
And it makes perfect sense, because I know that's a lot of question that we got last time.
Sure.
Why would somebody write this guy? And her quote is, quote, "If you're in a relationship with a man behind bars for life, or a man on death row, then you have a lot of control over the relationship. You can decide when to make the visit, when to accept the phone call, or will you accept the call, and are you that man's primary link to the outside world? So you can clearly see it's a very powerful position to be in." So that's a lot of times, as women who don't have power sometimes are attraced to having some power or something like that.
Was in a relationship where they didn't have
that's what I mean. So they feel like there's some control over it, and also they talk about there's some women are attracted to that weird hyper masculinity thing of the danger of the killer, and it's a weird.
That's the most dangerous man on earth.
That's what I mean. So it's like a weird. It's a weird thing. It's just like a psychological tick that people have, and same reason why men are attracted to women who are terrible for them too.
Yeah.
Fucking wrong for them. It's just
no shit.
You're attracted to what you're attracted to, and depending on, and a lot of times too, if these women have come up in terrible backgrounds and environments, you go, oh well, that makes sense why they'd be attracted to a terrible person.
And they're trying to correct that.
Yeah, exactly. And they have control over. Maybe their father was like this person. Now they have control over the situation. So maybe that's what it is.
Live in Lady Gaga's song Telephone.
I'm not a psychiatrist, obviously, but that's the theories I've heard bandied about, and they seem to make as much sense to me as any. Now I have a letter here that he wrote to someone named Ryan.
Yeah.
And
Ryan put this shit on the internet?
Oh yeah, a bunch of people do.
Oh
this.
boy.
They're like, got a letter from this guy today. Like I said, people have talked to him and corresponded with him and said, he's too fucked up. I'll stick with just Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker. He's a little less crazy.
California killed him too by aging him out.
That's it. So this letter is, quote, "Dear Ryan, received your welcome letter. I thought my ad on Write a Prisoner project was deleted a long time ago. Then all of a sudden I get a pen pal who see my ad on their website. I have enclosed a sample of my artwork. I sometimes build crazy stuff. I also enjoy photography. Mentioned that later in your letter. Yes, I am allowed to work. Yes, I am allowed artwork in my cell. Many of other pen pals have sent me some of their artwork. We can receive any full nude artwork showing violence. We can't receive any full nude artwork showing violences.
Are stick figures nude? Because I'm sending them one.
No shit. We are allowed to receive articles off the internet and new media clippings. So most any articles off the internet, not pertaining to guns or rape. Can receive writing pads to front and back something. It's ineligible and or illegible, and two and ineligible for that matter, and 2 ink pens, blue or black, transparent. Stamp books like 2 books, so stamp books too. Blah blah blah. Photos up to 5 at a time. No Polaroid, no full frontal nudity, or photo of nude cats. Smiley face joke.
Okay,
he's kidding. He threw in
about cats not having clothes on.
What do I do with my time to stay busy? Besides
being hilarious?
Besides being a fucking jokester. Besides my painting and drawing, I write essays and poems, and I read a lot, and write letters to all my pen pals. That takes up a lot of my time, and go out to get my ass in the yard and do something, I guess, work out, to walk around and talk to a few friends. And watch my TV. My favorite commercial is the diaper commercial. Some diaper commercial came close to being Pogo, which he's talking about John Wayne. Yeah. He's got a John Wayne Gacy obsession too.
Oh boy.
His small diaper on the one infant and toddler are wearing. He's talking about liking fucking infant commercials.
This is
diapers.
horrible.
This is why people stop writing him.
Yeah.
Because they get this. I love true crime books. Mostly I read Silence of the Lambs and Raising some other shit.
Yeah.
And
Raising Arizona.
I love the Coen brothers. So he also has art and shit for auction and for sale. He's got, here's us, it's murderauction.com is a bunch of his shit, these assholes. One is item description is the artwork is done completely in pencil, measures 7.5 inches by 8.5 inches, is signed across the bottom right corner in ink, Philip Jablonski, San Quentin Death Row, 2010. Jablonski makes a habit of sending out all the correspondence he receives to other collectors and dealers of true crime related memorabilia. Here's your chance to get a Jablonski piece and not have your personal information shared with strangers. The artwork comes inside a protective magazine sleeve with an acid-free board and has been stored flat.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
Honestly.
There's a dragon drawing of his for fucking $30.
How good is it?
It's the dragon one's not fucking bad. It's right here if you want to see it. It's not.
Holy
it's not
shit.
Way fucking better than I could do.
That looks like Fantasia.
It's not bad.
That's incredible.
It really is pretty. He's not a bad artist.
I mean, he's got a lot of time to do it. If I had a lot of time,
thing.
I might be able to
learn how to do that over years. On his WordPress site, he
40
has
of them.
Yeah, 40 years. He has shit for sale. He has a Pogo the Clown painting done by him, a painting of
Pogo.
Yeah. It's his reproduction of Gacy's Pogo, basically. $80 for that, or best offer. A Skull Clown painting, which is another reproduction of Gacy. It's creepy as fuck. $75. He's selling hair samples, Jimmy.
What?
Hair samples, 10 available. Each of the 10 packets is numbered on the back and includes a display card and a generous lock of hair. Each packet is in a thin plastic case.
Is it his pubes?
$25 each.
Wow.
For fucking hair. Own a piece of a notorious serial killer! Exclamation point.
Notorious?
Fuck you.
Nobody's heard of you, fuckface.
Fuck you! Exclamation point. Jesus. Also a photo of a naked woman without a head for $10.
Why is he allowed to draw that if he can't get pictures of it?
I don't know. An envelope from him addressed to somebody with some shit drawn on it for $5. A drawing of a horse for $10. A bunch of photos complete with autographs and thumbprints. The thumbprint on there. His personal prison copy of Hannibal Rising that he was reading.
Awful.
That's all sorts of shit there. And also a signed copy of Deadly Urges, which is a 1997 book about him by a guy named Barry Bortnick that nobody fucking bought.
Barry Bortnick wrote a book about him, forwarded him a copy, and he signed it.
$95 for that.
Whoa.
For a paperback of a shit book. Wow.
That's how notorious you are, sir. If there was a book about Bundy with Bundy's autograph on it, thousands.
Oh, it'd be worth a fortune. It's $95.
$95.
That's it. And
not
it's
even
like
a cable bill.
And literally, that's the only book written about him. There's a couple that mention him in serial killer books, like the 12 whatever, and he's one of the. But there's Ted Bundy has 55 fucking books written about him. More
Movies,
than that, probably.
TV shows,
everything. It's coming out still. He's been dead for 30 years.
They took 12 minutes of tapes and made it fucking 4 hours of shit on Netflix.
Made it a full-length fucking
unbelievable
multi-part documentary.
Shit, just to tell the story again. Nobody's even heard your story once, fuckface.
So that is Burlingame, California.
Holy
that is
shit.
Philip Carl Jablonski and the story of many, many dead women, poor women who were fucking slaughtered for no reason because he's a sick shit.
Yeah.
If you like our story and all of our stories, I know what you can do about it.
Do something.
You can get on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, or any other podcast platform that you listen to us on and give us 5 stars. Right. Give us a rating. It helps drive us up the charts. It really, really does. Doesn't matter what you say. It's just for business purposes. So just say you're following instructions or following directions, and we get it. That's a good wink and a nod to us, and we understand. You should go to shutupandgivememurder.com.
You should.
Can't recommend that enough. You can get all of your small town murder and crime and sports merchandise, tickets to live show tonight. Jesus, get there
right now.
Just get in your car. Just get in your car, go to West Palm Beach.
Finish this tomorrow.
Let's go here and buy tickets to that live show. Also, all sorts of merchandise. Also on there, you can get, there's links to be one of our fucking heroes.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about in a second. But you can also, they're such good people. Other things you can do from shutupandgivememurder.com. Follow us on social media.
Please do.
You can do that at Murder Small on Twitter, Small Town Pod on Facebook, and at Small Town Murder on Instagram. Do that. And also, if you want to be a hero like we just discussed, you can do that that, you can do it on shutupandgivememurder.com. There are links that will take you where?
Yeah.
Patreon.com/crimeinsports, or go over to PayPal, use our email address, which is crimeinsports@gmail.com, and become one of our goddamn heroes.
We appreciate you.
We do. And Jimmy, I would like you to tell me, who are our goddamn heroes this week? Who are people who have never stun-gunned or made tapes of their horrific murders
that we think,
and even if they have, we're willing to overlook it because they've given us money. Who are these people, Jimmy? Hit me with them now.
This week's executive producers are Janine Ballinger-Tebay, I believe. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Ellie Comack, Christopher Dobronsky, Malte Stange, maybe it's Malt.
I don't know. I like it.
Don't look at me.
Thank you.
Charlotte Ackerman. That was the one.
Yes.
Charlotte.
Thank you. Yes, you're
awesome. I don't know what
Charlotte.
we do for you, but it's clearly amazing, and thank you.
We can't thank you enough.
Amy Spicer, Lonnie Hall, and Kelsey Capraro. You guys, thank you guys from the bottom of our hearts for you guys do unbelievable things, and you don't even know it, but thank you.
Yeah, you don't know what you mean to us, but it's a lot. Thank you.
Truly. This week's producers are Georgia Lilly, Brian Corbin, Francis Corsick, Courtney Esseray. Isseray. I think it's definitely foreign, right?
Foreign as opposed to what?
I don't know. Elizabeth Martin, Kristen Hensley, Tina Eldred, Jessica Hartke, Caitlin Stupak, Becky and Alex Simmons, Amanda Thomas, Tyler Gwill, Peggy Malone, Leslie Woodruff, Mackenzie Parrott, Bex Alice, Hirishikesh let's try this again.
Let's go back to one on this one.
Hirishikesh.
You're working on it.
Pandy. That's
there
it.
You go.
Joseph Sirachi IV, which is a fucking great name. I think that's not right, but he's the fourth. That's what he is.
Damn.
Antonio Ackridge.
Deep.
Yes. Antonio Ackridge, Brendan Abels, L'Oreal Mitchell, Matt Nixon, Jordan Mosier, what is that? Alexandra.
What is that?
Oh, it's Alexandra Vandergag. That's what that is.
Oh, okay.
That's perfect.
Well, shit,
is what
thank
that
you.
was. Nick Jungers, Thomas Smith, Rachel Storr, Casey L. Bowers, yes, Jesse Hartman, Krista Walker, Kate with a C, Justin Miller, Sue Lee, not Solely. It's Sue, right?
Sue. Yeah, we'll go with
Sue. It's
So Lee.
Right. Casey. No, Chasey. Is that Chasey? Chasey. No, it's probably Casey Miller, but it's spelled with CH. I think that's what it is. Reagan Shaukley, Shauna Rogers, Morgan Carolyn. No, Carlian. Morgan, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
James Martyr. They gave no clarification whether or not you are a martyr. Jordan Bennett, Emily Hawkins, Tracy Renninger, Janice Hill, Luke Holman, Lewis Tidrick, Dylan. Oh, that was Levi Tidrick from a few weeks ago. Levi's, but that's Lewis. His name is Lewis. I called him Levi's. That's what happened. Dylan Hopper, Gina Golan, Melanie Harrison, Brittany Baker, Greg Stevens, Panhandle Games. They play a game. I don't remember what it is.
Okay.
But the winnings go to us, which is fantastic.
Shit, amazing. Thank you.
Marshall Walker, Sherry Costa, Keith Cole, Russell Tobler, Therese Alquist, Luis Rayfield, Keenan Eisenbart, Jackie Moran.
Keenan Ivory Eisenbart?
Yes. May Lee Elliott. Also, May Lee, not a porn star. She told us that.
Good. Good for you. Good for you, sweetheart.
Lori
Thank
Hicks,
you for everything.
Luna Alvarez, Chelsea Hansen, Stephen Hancock. Yes. Mark Trudeau, Ted Cyrus, Miftha Sadiq. I think I got it. I think I nailed that on the first one. Christina Luller, Sarah Reichert, Joseph Kenny, Fun Kylo. No.
Okay.
Elizabeth Negro. I can't say that. It's her last name, and I still can't say it.
What is it?
It's
Jim?
Negro. I can't do that.
Why?
No, because I don't know if it's Negro or Negro.
So the whole time Vinny Del Negro played in the NBA, you never said his name once?
I can say.
Okay.
Because that's two last names.
Go with Negro.
It's N-I. It feels dirty. That's what
Don't
it is.
say it then.
It's Elizabeth. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Thanks, Elizabeth.
Darren Mihal.
Negro.
What is it?
Nidro.
Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It's a G, and I'm not saying it.
I hope so.
I already said it, so it doesn't matter. Ty Jaeger or Jaeger. It's probably Jaeger, right? Yeah. Alexis Laster, Naima Shea, Corinne Cox, Lisa Jensen, Elizabeth Holzcamper. Jesus. Ryan Sweet, Jessica Fantaccioni.
Nice.
I think so.
Nice. I like it.
KP Drebel, Miles Barron, Lauren Demarath, Esme Snipes. Was it Sipes? Saups. Fuck. Is it Snipes?
Fuck.
It's Esme. That's what it is.
Nice.
Mike Jones. Yeah, Mike Jones. Tess Devine, Stephen Rude, George Wilson, Haley Marble, Ashley Vio, Grace Brunias, Emily Grace, Brittany and Patrick. I forget their last names. They told me, I believe. Thanks. God damn it. Thank you both so much. And happy birthday to Charm Hires. Her name is the most difficult name ever. But thank you guys all so much.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. We cannot thank you guys enough for everything you do. We're blown away. We really are.
It's true.
We always say it, and it sounds cheesy, but we don't know what else to say because we're fucking shocked, and we're
unbelievably grateful. And we don't just say thank you to say thank you.
No, it's definitely it's not lip service. We really, really mean it. What if somebody wanted to thank you, Jimmie? How could they do that?
You can find me at Whisman Sucks, WHISMAN Sucks on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. Thank you guys so much for everything. Truly. Changing the course and trajectory of my life. Thank you. Where can they tell you?
Absolutely, guys. You've changed both our lives, so thank you very much. You can find me at Jimmie P is funny, or just copy and paste my last name from the show description onto whatever you're searching on or in or whatever, because you're going to spell it wrong otherwise. So just do that and keep coming back every week. Thank you guys for hanging in there on this particularly brutal episode. It's a particularly crazy one. Maybe we'll try to get back to some just wild panhandle behavior. Trailer park insanity next week with very little sexual content. Maybe we'll go there. I'm not sure yet. We'll see how it goes. Maybe it'll be worse. We don't know.
Possum copulation.
It's going to be postulation. Fuck that. Till next week, everybody. It's been our pleasure.
Bye.
If you like Small Town Murder, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
A few miles from the glass spires of Midtown Atlanta lies the South River Forest. In 2021 and 2022, the woods became a home to activists from all over the country, who gathered to stop the nearby construction of a massive new police training facility, nicknamed Cop City.
At approximately 9 o'clock this morning, as law enforcement was moving through various sectors of the property, an individual, without warning, shot a Georgia State Patrol trooper.
This is We Came to the Forest, a story about resistance.
The abolitionist mission isn't done until every prison is empty and shut down.
Love and fellowship.
It was probably the happiest I've ever been in my life.
And the lengths we'll go to protect the things we hold closest to our hearts. Follow We Came to the Forest on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.